Hey guys, Editor Isaac here with a quick note or two for you before we start the video. First off, just want to say thank you for tuning in. This is our longest video on the channel, I believe, so thank you. We really appreciate your support. We really appreciate you guys tuning in and enjoying our content. There's definitely more to come, so stay tuned. Second note for you guys is, with these longer videos, it takes me and Cam a lot of time to get these out and to have everything prepared with research, with notes, with actually recording the video. So if you guys would subscribe to the YouTube channel, check out our Spotify, check out our Instagram, maybe drop a comment for a team that we missed that is not Power 4, or a player you want us to mention, or for future NFL content, anything that you guys can think of. We would really appreciate the ideas. We appreciate your comments. So with that being said, enjoy the video.
All right, what's up, guys? It's Neutral Zone here, and we are continuing our series of conference rankings in college football of the four major Power 4 conferences. And we've done the ACC, we've done the Big 12. We kind of started off going worst to best, and that's why we're doing the Big 10 next and saving the SEC for last, because it's the best. But
yes, sir.
No, yeah, today we're just going to be covering all the Big 10 teams. Me and Isaac were talking about for this video, some really difficult lines, man. These teams are, since it kind of feels like there's a lot more parity in this conference, especially with, I would say, like the top 8 teams. Maybe there's a little bit of a gap between the top 3, but some of these teams, man, it's like you can see them doing really, really good. You can see them doing really, really bad, it feels like. And yeah, I think it's going to be a good conversation today. Very interesting conversation because of that. And yeah, how are you doing, man? Overall, what did you kind of think about this, and how's it going?
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing good. I woke up at 7 a.m. this morning when my shift started, so I was a little bit late to work, and so that was a great start to the day. But otherwise, the day went well. Hit a little chest at the gym. But yeah, this conference is going to be good. I'm really excited because I think we could have the most disagreement we've had of any conference so far, because there's just so many tough lines to deliberate on, and like there's a lot of teams who could potentially be sleepers, who could potentially do worse than expected. It's going to be interesting because this is the best conference we've talked about so far, one of the 2 best conferences in the country, and I'm ready to get into it. It's going to be a fun combo.
Yeah, so if you just want to start right away, we're immediately hitting it off with the top dog. I mean, at least one of them. Obviously, they won the national title last year. Indiana, the Hoosiers, their line is set at 10.5 wins, so very, very high. The books are very, very high in Indiana. I would say pretty justifiable.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
I get it, a lot of talent that they retained, a lot of talent they brought in, and obviously you have probably top 2 head coach in America right now. I would say Kirby
for sure.
Maybe a little better, but yeah. So for me, the notable players that I have written down, there's a ton, but just 3 that I highlighted: tackle Carter Smith, wide receiver Charlie Becker, and then wide receiver Nick Marsh. Their coach, Kurt Cignetti, I mean, stud at JMU, obviously comes over to Indiana, has them go to the college football playoff. It doesn't end exactly how they want it to, but then he gets more than just 1 year with the program, and they win the Natty at historically the worst program in college football, I think, in terms of like overall losses or losing record or
really bad
losing percentage or whatever. And yeah, they win the Natty. They go undefeated, win the Natty, beat Ohio State, beat Miami, like win a ton of games no one really thought they should. I mean, they killed Alabama, as much as I hate to say it. Like, they kind of just were unstoppable, it feels like. And a lot of it's kind of attributed to Cignetti, to be honest, and how well he coaches these guys up. They call him the new Saban. That's kind of like what he is being called right now. And because of that, he brought in quarterback Josh Hoover from TCU. Very, very interesting player. They're hoping they can develop him into kind of like how they develop Mendoza. And yeah, my breakout player for them is Nick Marsh. Last year for Michigan State, he went 58 for 97, 662 yards, 6 touchdowns, and a 67.5 grade. And I know I highlighted him as one of my notable players, and you might be saying, like, how is he really a breakout? But I think it's because he could be like one of the best wide receivers in the country.
No, definitely.
I really do. Like, I think he could have like all the production of Omar Cooper. I mean, I think last year's probably like late day 2. I think he could be a high first-round pick in this draft if all goes right. And then my breakout defensive player is safety Preston Zachman, the transfer from Wisconsin. He missed all of 2025 with, I can't remember what injury or whatever it was, but before he was always a pretty good player. And if he can recover, I think he can take the next step up with advancements in his coaching. and become an actual like great to maybe even elite player at Indiana. And yeah, what did you think about this team overall?
Yeah, and like I already prefaced, this conference is going to be so difficult. So
Yeah.
it was tough going over their schedule, and they have a pretty hard schedule. And trying to decide with confidence who they were going to beat and who they weren't. But yeah, I mean, this team is still going to be really good. Kurt Signetti is always has shown that he's going to be a good head coach. He turned this team around in 2 seasons and won the Natty. I mean, just absolutely insane. This is his 3rd season. There's no reason to think why he shouldn't have another good season with this team, especially with, they lost, Fernando Mendoza, a lot of their players to the draft, but like they still have a lot of talent. They brought in a lot of talent. There's just no reason that why they won't have another good season. And yeah, like you said, Nick Marsh, bringing in him is an excellent replacement for Omar Cooper and Elijah Surratt. Obviously, you can't replace 2 players, but he replaces 1 for sure, and he's going to be a production machine, honestly. And then you still have Charlie Becker returning, so he's going to fill in that wide receiver 2 role. Probably, if not, maybe he'll be the wide receiver 1 over Nick Marsh. It's possible.
He might be.
It's possible. And then you have Carter Smith, who's a projected top 10 pick currently. And I also want to shout out Jamari Sharp because he showed flashes last year, and he could definitely step into that corner 1 role. But yeah, this team has talent everywhere, and they brought in talent they brought in my breakout player is tight end Brock Schott. I think they want to give Josh Hoover a target at tight end. He's a redshirt freshman transferred from Miami, former 4-star, and he was the 10th tight end in his class, and 174th nationally, 6'3", 243 pounds. He's not even 20 years old. So I just think he could definitely make an impact. Brock Schott on Indiana. And then, yeah, I mean, they brought in Preston Zachman. They brought in Toby Osunsanmi from K-State. AJ Harris from Penn State.
He was a big guy too, Harris.
And then you bring in running back Turbo Richard, who I think could be a pretty solid addition. Another edge in Chidi Obiazor. I'm going to pronounce his name bad, and then, yeah, I mean, I think you replaced some of the talent you lost pretty well, but I do see this team having, regression from last year because it's tough to go 16-0 again. I mean, it's almost impossible. And with what I saw in this conference and the talent that I see and the, so many reliable quarterback situations, reliable coaching situations. We were kind of talking about that pre-video as well, over text. It's going to be tough to win a ton of games in this conference. And I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to do really, really well and make the CFP again. But I do have them going under the 10.5 wins. I have 10-2 for Indiana. That is my prediction.
Okay.
I don't know. Their schedule's tough. I could definitely see with the loss of Fernando Mendoza, you lose both your starting receivers. You lose Kalen Black, Pat Coogan, Riley Novakowski, Aiden Fisher. A lot of talent lost to the draft, and you're coming into a conference that, in my opinion, has improved, and their schedule's tough, and I definitely could see them dropping 2 games in this season. But, I wouldn't be surprised if they go over it, honestly. 10-2 is kind of a hot take for me because this is Indiana. Theoretically, they probably should go over the 10.5 win mark after last season, but
I don't think it's crazy at all.
I don't think it's that crazy, but yeah, looking at their schedule, I honestly think they're going to drop 2 games, and it's also maybe a bit of bias because I just think they're kind of due for a regression and to lose some games because they went 16-0 last year.
Yeah,
but we'll see. It'll be interesting to watch. I'm excited to watch the defending national champs defend their title, and yeah, I'm excited to hear what you have to say. Because you looked a little surprised with my unders, so we'll see what you took.
Yeah, 2 things. I really like your breakout player being Schott because, last year, Riley Nowakowski was, super underappreciated within their offense. He was more productive than I think people think. Yeah. And did you have a defensive breakout player?
So I forgot to mention that. My first couple teams, I was kind of going with the last way we were doing it, so I kind of forgot to do defensive breakout players, or 2, I guess you could say. I started doing it once I realized, I think a couple teams in, but I can pick one on the fly here. I like the Zachman pick. That one makes a lot of sense. Yep. I'm going to take AJ Harris from Penn State. I think he was.
I like that.
I think he showed a lot when he was at Penn State early in his career, and he kind of just did he get injured? I'm trying to remember.
I think he was banged up last season, and then Penn State just kind of sucked too.
He was just banged up. Yeah, like you said, Penn State was not amazing. I mean, they went 7-6 with a bowl game, but you're coming to a team who is defending the Natty, and you're going to probably start. I could definitely see AJ Harris bumping up his numbers from last year and, being a big role player on this defense. So I would say AJ Harris for Indiana. And for the teams that I forgot, I'll just do the same thing. I'll just pick one on the
For
fly.
sure.
Oh, and I also forgot to do my floor and ceiling. I mean, the ceiling.
Oh, you don't have to do that. That's just something I like to do.
You want to do that?
honest.
Okay, you can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to, you can. But I did take their over. I mean, you said you thought their schedule was hard. I actually think it's relatively easy.
Okay.
I mean, they play Ohio State. I think they lose to Ohio State. I think they go over. I think they go 11-1. I
Okay.
just think that they're more talented and way better coached than the second best team and the third best team they play. Like, their second hardest game of Ohio State, to me, is probably either one of Indiana or Michigan. And, I'm not going to, like, spoil what I think of those teams, but I still think that Indiana is better than both of them, and I think they're both better coached. So I just don't see them losing any of these games, to be honest. I do think Cincinnati's the real deal, and I still think they're uber talented. Sure. I do think their floor is 9-3, though. I wanted to take their under really bad. I think they're due for regression. I think they got really lucky in a few games last year, to be very honest. I mean, we're talking about if Jaden Fielding didn't miss some of their field goals, they lose the Big Ten championship. The Penn State crazy catch. I think they came back against Penn State, and then they scored and won. They only beat Iowa on like the last.
Yeah,
it was like a minute of the game. Like, there was so many games that they need. I mean, they almost lost to Miami. Like, let's be real, there was like 4 games, and I get that they didn't, obviously, but it's not like they're untouchable at the end of the day. So for me, I also think this team was, like, as much as I didn't like Mendoza as a prospect, he was an amazing college player and an amazing fit in their scheme. I think Hoover will not be able to fill his shoes really even close. I still think he'll be good. I think he will be carried by his receiver room, though. And yeah, I don't know. I just think their floor as a team is too high, and that's why I think I'm taking the over still. But yeah, their floor for me is 9-3 because I could see them dropping like USC, Michigan. Maybe they lose to like Washington, maybe Minnesota. But for me, it's like their ceiling's still 12-0. I mean, let's be real. They beat Ohio State twice last year. They can do it again.
12-0, yeah.
So I don't know. This is still like at very worst a top 3 team in the Big Ten, maybe top 4, top 5. Even if they go 9-3, but. I think they kind of got lucky. They don't really play any hard out of conference. Like, it feels like all the other top dogs in the SEC or Big Ten play like a top SEC opponent. They don't. Yeah. And it feels like all the other Big Ten guys all play each other. Indiana doesn't play Oregon. They don't play really anybody. I mean, the second hardest is like Michigan.
Yep.
So I would have liked for them to play Oregon, but whatever. But because of that, yeah, I just had them going 11-1.
Well, yeah, and I feel like it would be disrespectful to not give the defending champs a ceiling of 12-0 because
Yeah, that's also true.
It's Kursignetti, and they just won the championship, so.
Yeah, but unless you have anything else to say, I'm good to move on to Iowa.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, so Iowa, the team that almost actually beat Indiana last year, and it's because they always seem to be a very big thorn in the side of any team trying to beat them. Their line's set at 7.5 wins. And notable players for me are center Cade Pieper, tackle Trevor Lauk, and then safety / corner, I think, like Zach Lutmer. I think he's like a hybrid.
Yep.
Head coach Kirk Ferentz has been there for I think 27 years.
27 years.
Yeah, he's been there forever, man. He's by far easily the longest tenured coach. By you could literally minus 10 years off his thing and he still is.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't even think anyone is even close to 20. Because I know the second best one was the guy at Oklahoma State before he got fired. Gundy.
Well, I think there's someone in the Big Ten who has teams. I'm trying to remember.
Probably. I would not be surprised at all. Well, it's also, I think, Kyle Whittingham, obviously, before he transferred to Michigan, he was very highly tenured at Utah.
Oh, yeah. Rutgers' head coach is in his 18th season. Greg Schiano.
Schiano. I did know that. That's true. He's been there for a long time. And yeah, Kirk Ferentz, Iowa kind of always does the same thing. Man, they got a good defense, really good running game. Can't pass the ball at all. Yep. Literally at all.
They just run.
And that's about it. And yeah, their quarterback, I don't know who it is. It looks like it's going to be a battle between Jeremy Hecklinski or Hank Brown, either of which are very, honestly, none of them are experienced quarterbacks. Neither of them are ever, massive starters anywhere or anything. That's kind of because this program doesn't really value that. My breakout player for them for offense is transfer running back from South Dakota, Lendon Phillips. This dude had 1,900 rushing yards last year, 19 touchdowns, off 2 fumbles, 6.5 yards per carry, and a 92.8 PFF grade. That's insane. And I think he's going to eat in this system. I mean, they're definitely just going to give him the ball probably 20, 25, 30 times a game on top of this elite O-line. There's no reason he doesn't go crazy.
No.
And then my defensive player for them is former 2025 five-star. He was the 27th player in his class, Iose Epinesa. I don't believe he started
Okay.
a ton for them, but after losing Max Llewellyn to the draft, who was kind of their like designated pass
Yep.
rusher, I think
Yep.
that he could slot right in. And man, when Iowa gets a player that's a five-star, they kind of got to play him soon. Otherwise, I don't think he's going to be leaving or staying. I mean, so I think Iose Epinesa will probably be getting significant snaps for Iowa this year. And yeah, overall, what did you think about this team? It seems like this line at 7.5 is pretty decent, pretty well set.
Yeah, it is definitely well set. Iowa consistently good with Kirk Ferentz. Like you said, 27th season, longest tenured FBS coach. He knows what he's doing. There's a reason he's been tenured this long. He constantly has Iowa in a good position. And yeah, I mean, that you kind of expect him to have a winning season once again with this team. He didn't lose a ton of talent. I mean, yeah, they lost a good amount of O-linemen, but they still have a good O-line, like you said, with Trevor Locke and Cade Piper. Those are two really good offensive linemen who could both be first rounders potentially. I kind of would doubt it, but maybe both of them will be.
Yeah.
And yeah, they bring in my breakout player for offense is also Lendon Phillips. I really, really like him. He had 1,900 rushing yards, like you said, 19 touchdowns at South Dakota. My biggest thing for him is he's really, really short, but I really don't think that matters because he's a running back.
Yeah.
But yeah, he absolutely crushed. So there's our first agreement
already. Nice.
On offense. For defense, off the top of my head, if I had to pick one, Iowa always has pretty solid DBs. I would probably say either they're both transfers, either Anthony Hawkins or Tyler Brown. I just think one of them is going to step up and be a big role player in the defense, along with I just forget Zach Lutmer.
Yeah,
because they always have good DBs. But yeah, this Iowa team is going to be really solid again. I for sure think they're winning over 6 games. I would kind of be surprised looking at their history. They haven't lost more than 5 games in like 10 years. It's been like ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, excluding bowl games. But like, I honestly think they're probably going to take the over just because of that with the 7.5. I would tend to go with the over just because of how good Kirk Ferentz is. But this is a really good line, and honestly, I could easily see them going 7-5. I think 7-5 or 8-4 is where they will fall, which is why the line is so well set. I'm going to take the 8-4 line just because I trust Kirk Ferentz. But like I said, definitely could see them going 7-5. Definitely in the cards. So
yeah, I'm really high on this team, to be honest. I think they're going 9-3. I'm taking the over. Dude, I think their ceiling's 11-1.
Wow. Okay.
They play Ohio State. I think they lose to Ohio State. Their second hardest game, like looking at their schedule, is probably Illinois, maybe Nebraska or Washington, like maybe Minnesota because it's a rivalry game. But I mean, I think we've only beaten them like one time in the last 8 or 9 years or something. Like, dude, this team is very real potential with how good their O-line is. I mean, it feels like they have a premium players at defense. Like Lendon Phillips, obviously, we both think is going to break out for them and be a star.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you lose to Ohio State and then your next hardest game is Illinois. Like, I think they got that. And that's why man, they're easily hitting this over. I think their floor is at most 7, at worst is 7-5.
Okay.
So like that's their floor for me. Their floor is 1 win below this, and it's like, dude, they got that so easy. And I think a lot would have to go wrong. I honestly, like they would either have to like literally not be able to pass the ball at all, with their running game being horrid. And I just don't see either of those two things being true at the same time.
Yeah,
like
that's fair.
this team is just too well coached. It's too like I think their running back room is always talented enough, and I feel like can they not pass? Like yes, but they always are able to do it in a sense where it's like. It's not like it's not a thing for them. You know what I mean? Like, and I know it kind of isn't, but I actually think that they're kind of trending in the direction of being more accustomed to it, if that makes sense. And like,
yeah, I mean, they added some decent wide receiver
It's hard
talent.
to say. And that's what I was going to say. I know their wide receiver room is like actually decent this year, and I don't know what their quarterback situation really is, to be honest. It seems very up in the air, but I just think that they're they're a really high floor team and a really bad. They don't play anyone really that good. So because of that, I think they're gonna win. Oh, they do play Michigan, by the way. So I mean, maybe they lose to Michigan, I guess. But that's why I have them going 9-3. They probably lose to Ohio State, Michigan, and then drop another game. But yeah, that's Iowa. You got anything else to say about them?
No, I think you had a good analysis. I think my biggest thing for them is I just don't know what their quarterback situation is going to look like. But like you said,
Yeah, and moving on to Maryland, their line's set at 5.5 wins.
Are we doing Illinois?
My goodness, I did not do Illinois.
Really?
No, I did not. Dude, wait. Here, give me a second. That actually makes so much sense because I was thinking about the other day.
They don't have betting lines because it's Illinois. That's probably why you probably.
That's I was literally looking up. Now I was typing in.
I almost missed Illinois and Northwestern because they don't have betting lines in Illinois.
Wait, did I do Northwestern either?
There's no betting in Illinois.
My God, I didn't do Northwestern
either.
Okay,
we're good. We're good. If you want, I can cover Illinois, and you can if you want, you can cover a few things look at.
Yo, that's crazy.
Because yeah, they don't have betting lines in you can't bet in Illinois on college sports. So they didn't have.
You can't do it out of state. Like I from Wisconsin can't bet on a Illinois team.
No, they don't have
I can't
on DraftKings. They don't have lines for either team. Like you can't bet on them.
Can you bet on the Chicago Bears?
Yes, I believe so because they're not a college team. I think it's about college athletics, if I remember correctly. I know it's kind of dumb, but I almost missed it too because I was like, why are we missing teams here?
Yeah, I was just doing the lines. Damn, that's embarrassing.
Yeah. You're good, bro.
No, for me, I was literally thinking about that though. Like I was thinking of Brett Bielema. I'm like, wait, did I break Brett Bielema down? And I was like, yeah, I definitely did. Like I took notes for all the teams. Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Yeah. I guess I'll let you talk about them, man. I off the top of my head have a breakout defensive player for them.
Yeah, that's.
But I don't have I don't really know anything else. So fill me in, I guess.
Yeah, I got it. So yeah, Illinois last season had a pretty successful season. They went 9-4 with the bowl game. They had an 88.7 team grade on PFF, so pretty solid. They were definitely competitive in the Big Ten this last year. My key players for them, I have wide receiver Colin Dixon, cornerback Xavier Scott, and tackle Nathan Knapik. I don't know if the K is pronounced in his name. And then this offseason, they got a few players taken in the draft in Gabe Akis, J.C. Davis, Miles Scott, and then they lost Luke Altmaier, Hank Beatty, James Thompson to NFL UDFA. And then they also lost wide receiver Justin Bowick, tight end Cole Rusk, linebacker Malachi Hood, and quarterback Trey Petty, and then 22 other outgoing transfers in the transfer portal. So they lost a solid amount of talent this offseason. But then to go along with that, they added multiple wide receivers in Ja'Shawn Platt, Alex Perry, QB Kattenhauser, who is projected to be their starter from Eastern Carolina, nose tackle Darrell Prater, defensive tackle Carter Janke, and then 4-star cornerback Nick Hankins Jr., and 3-star tackle Champ Smith. For me, my breakout player is corner Nick Hankins, their 4-star recruit, and he is out of Illinois. He's the 16th ranked corner nationally, 159th player in the 2026 class, 6 foot, 200 pounds. He's 18 years old. Really excited about him. I feel like Illinois always has a very good defensive back. And I think Xavier Scott is kind of that for them right now, but he is currently up for being drafted. So they're going to need a replacement. So I think Nick Hankins is going to step in beautifully. I think he's going to play the corner 2 role this year and then possibly step into that corner 1 role. Really excited about him. If I had to pick an offensive player, I would probably say one of their 2 wide receivers in Ja'Shawn Platt or Alex Perry they added because I feel like they always have a solid receiver. Like Hank Beatty was solid last year. They're going to need someone to step up. They have Colin Dixon, but I feel like one of the 2 receivers is going to step in that wide receiver 2 role, take the corner 2, and be solid and get some production. Wait, I said Wait, no, I took a defense. Okay, never mind. But yeah, overall, I like this Illinois team. Brett Bielema is a really good coach. This is his 6th season with Illinois. He's had them with a winning season, I think, every single year of his tenure. So, really good. Their line, okay, I had to look up their line because I think they technically have one. You just can't bet on it. I found 7.5 wins. That was the one I found. So I used that one.
Okay.
I'm taking the over. I think they're going 9-3. I think they have a pretty favorable schedule. They're always a good team. I just think that Brett Bielema is going to be able to take the talent he got in the transfer portal and replace some of the stuff he lost in the draft and the transfer portal. I don't know. I just think Illinois is always going to be really solid. We were talking about them with Iowa last time. Like, They could put up a fight against Iowa. They could put up a fight against, I think they play Indiana as well. They're a good team every season, perennially. So I'm going to take them going 9-3 and take the over on what I think is their line of 7.5 wins. But did you kind of get yourself caught up a little bit? Do you think you can?
Yeah. So I agree. I think from just very basically glancing at their schedule, it looks like they're going 8-4. They play Ohio State and Oregon. I think they probably lose those two, and then they probably drop a few of one of like UCLA, Iowa, Northwestern, Nebraska, Maryland. But overall, I think they beat a lot of these teams. Maybe Duke. I think Brett Bielema's a really good coach, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it feels like he has them punching out their weight class, and it's like, honestly, like, who really cared about Illinois for the longest time? It feels like they've been pretty consistently like a top 25 team recently, and definitely at least they might be ranked in the coaches poll. They might have been in the 20s. So, I mean, that's good for this program, honestly. Did you do breakout player for them?
Yeah, I had corner Nick Hankins, and then my probably Alex Perry, if I had to guess.
Yeah, and their quarterback, Caden Hauser. What do you know about him?
Not a ton. He was pretty productive for Eastern Carolina.
Okay, I was going to say, I knew he was a transfer.
He's a transfer. I think he will be pretty solid for them, actually. He might be better than Altmaier, honestly. I wasn't like that impressed with Altmaier.
Okay, that's fair then, if you don't like Altmaier.
I think he could probably step in and play similarly to Altmaier, if not maybe better. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Well, my breakout players are, I know this is one of the players you mentioned, Xavier Scott, man. I know he's a great player. He was out like all of last year with, I think, like a knee injury. But I know Connor Rogers really, really loved him. I think he took him like as high as 13th in their preseason mock draft. I mean, like, he really, really liked this guy. And I just think he's a very, very freaky athlete. And hopefully he can come back from his injury. Because he would probably be the best player on this team if he can come back from his injury. And
definitely.
He can break out in a sense of being at that high, a top 15 player. That would be insane for him. And I don't know if I see him that high, but kind of just at the top of my head, he is a great player, and I hope he can kind of come back from injury and I guess re-break out, I guess, in a sense. And then my offensive player for them will be Hudson Clement, 2024 transfer from West Virginia. And I think he could be, honestly, really, really solid wide receiver, too, for them. I think, obviously, is Beatty still?
No, Beatty he's a UDFA this year.
I was going to say, I didn't think he got drafted.
I'm pretty sure their current wide receiver one is Colin Dixon, I think.
Yes, but if I'm not mistaken, I don't think Dixon's good enough, in a sense, to, like, be 100% solidified as that one.
Yeah.
I think Clement is good enough to be that, like, maybe they split it, like they're both like maybe 1 week it's him, 1 week it's Dixon. And I honestly think that Clement can fill in the shoes of Beatty like right away, and because of that, he'll be my breakout player for offense. And yeah, like I said, if they're line 7.5, I'm taking the over. This is just they're too well coached. I don't see them losing any more games than that, to be honest, and their schedule's pretty favorable in my opinion.
It's not horrible. Yeah, nice. I don't think I have anything else to say about Illinois. Do we want to move to Maryland?
Yeah, man, I just still can't believe that's crazy.
Yeah, that is funny.
Is there dude, did this happen with the SEC? Is Illinois the only state that this is like?
Illinois is the only one that I know of. I'm going to be honest.
Weird.
I almost did the same thing because I just went straight to the lines and I didn't realize that Illinois had that rule. So then I went to check because I was like, I feel like there's teams missing here. So I went to PFF and looked at the teams and I was like, yeah, it's missing 2. And Northwestern was the other one because they're in Illinois. So, yeah. I feel like that was,
Obviously, I know, like, I was thinking of Big Ten coaches. I was thinking of Bielema. I was thinking of Northwestern because they had Anto Saka transfer. They had Aiden Childs transfer in, and I know they're actually like a pretty decent program now. And then they also have like Pat Fitzgerald, their former coach, just got hired from Michigan State, so I was thinking of them because of that. And yeah, it's weird that I still forgot him. I probably just was too locked in. I didn't even realize it, to be honest. But
you'll be fine. You'll be able to do the same thing with Northwestern.
Yeah, I'm already good for Northwestern too. But yeah, moving on to Maryland, their over-under is set at 5.5 wins. That's their line. Notable players for me is tight end Dorian Fleming and linebacker Daniel Wingate. Coach Mike Loxley is, I would say, overall pretty average, honestly. I think his thing he needs to focus on most is the development of their quarterback, Malik Washington. And if that's number one focus is keeping and developing Malik Washington. that is their quarterback. He was, I believe, like around the 100th recruit last year. I think he was like the 6th quarterback. But yeah, coming in immediately in fall camp, they were saying amazing things about him.
Yeah.
They were saying he should have been a 5-star. They were saying he was maybe even the best quarterback in this class. Obviously, with Keelan and Underwood, that's probably never going to be the case. And they were just saying he's super underrated. And then he came and he had a pretty decent season, I would say. Like, honestly, I think they ended kind of rough. But Malik Washington definitely showed flashes for being a true freshman starter in the Big Ten.
Sure.
And I like him a ton. That's why he's my breakout player. I think he can take the leap up to being that next level of quarterback. And I think he's somebody that we could be talking about very highly of when it comes to his eligibility being available for the NFL draft. And I think it would be 2028, maybe 29 if he stays a little bit in college. But I believe he has like super prototypical build. I think he's like huge. I think he's like 6'5", 230, man,
He's
which
big,
is like
yeah,
this kid's like
big.
18, bro. Like he's only gonna get bigger. Like goddamn. And yeah, he's a stud. And then my breakout player at defense for them is Edge Zion Ely, 5-star
Okay.
freshman. He's the 10th national player, but I have to say, man, the recruiting websites, there's some haters. This dude was consensus #1 for like months. And then he declared for Maryland and they immediately moved him down like 10 spots because they could not have the #1 player going to Maryland instead of a big name program. They couldn't have it. And I think also they just used the logic of, oh, well, if he was really the #1 player, he wouldn't go to Maryland. But nah, this kid's going to be a stud.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be like maybe their best player on defense, like literally right away.
For sure.
Like he's going to be a freak. They don't land a player like this really ever in terms of recruiting. So I think that he hopes to break out right away and be a threat on this defense immediately. And yeah, what did you think about Maryland?
Yeah, another line that was pretty tough for me, I feel like, because I'm not quite sure how well they're coached. So I don't know, like, we talk about Malik Washington as a potential break. He's definitely my offensive breakout player as well. I really like his, like you said, prototypical build. He was a very high recruit, and you know, I just think that he has the skill set and the talent on this offense to be able to lead it. You know, they also have Dejon Williams at running back. They have a pretty solid defense. It's just tough because you can have a lot of talent, but if your coaching isn't there, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
So I question Mike Loxley a little bit. This is his 8th season,
too.
and he hasn't done a lot with Maryland. So that's where I question if they're going to get over that 5.5 win mark. For my defensive breakout player, I do like Ely a lot. I chose Messiah Delhomme at safety.
Oh,
6'2", 196 pounds. He played 375 snaps as a true freshman and had a 90.2 tackle grade. I expect him to step up with the departure of Jalen Husky in the draft. Yep. So
I was gonna say, you know why that name? I know that name. It's because I saw so much of him when watching Husky, and I really like Husky. Yep.
So Delhomme, I think, is going to step up for Husky after his departure. Yeah, I really like him, like his size. He has prototypical length. Very good tackler. Very, very good tackler. And yeah, about their line, 5.5 wins. I like Malik Washington. I like some of their offense. I like a lot of their defense. My biggest thing is their coaching. For that reason, I'm going to take the under at 5-7. You might be taking the over. I'm not sure, but even though I do really like the players they have, I think if you don't have a good coaching scheme and you don't have good, you know, play calling and things of that nature, like, it's just going to be tough. It's going to be really tough. And I wouldn't be surprised if, like, some of these guys' developments is just struggling because they don't have an outstanding coach. But could definitely see them going over the win total. The other thing is I just think this conference is so good. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm excited to hear what you have to say because it sounds like you're pretty high on them. So
yeah, I'm not necessarily high on them. I think they're fine. I think they go 6-6, so I think they do meet that win total.
Okay.
I have enough faith in Malik Washington. I think, man, when you have a really good quarterback, and we're talking about somebody who could be a first-round pick in 2 years, that goes so far. That gets you so far, man. I mean, it just raises the floor of your team so much. It allows you to come back from games that you probably shouldn't be able to come back from. Make passes that 90% of teams can't. And because of that, their ceiling is 9-3. I think there's a world where Malik Washington breaks out and kind of establishes himself as one of the best quarterbacks in college football. Obviously, that's why there's their ceiling. It's not super likely. It is a reality. It is a possibility, though. I do think their floor is 4-8, though. I'm kind of with you, Loxley. I do have questions about. I think there is a kind of situation where they don't really get the most out of Washington, or maybe his development's hampered, and I think a lot can go wrong for them. And man, he could be on the hot seat. If he messes up this Malik Washington situation, man, and he hasn't really shown you much, why would he keep him? So I think a lot's riding on that, and I think because of Washington and because of kind of being on the hot seat, I'm going to take the over. I think they go 6-6 and get to that bowl game. But it is nice that we differ in opinions there.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
But if you don't have any,
yeah, I mean,
if you don't have anything to say with,
honestly.
Yeah, no, I'm actually really hyped to see Ely. I love it when programs that probably like shouldn't get like 5-star talent. That's cool to me because you get to see them dominate and you get to see them actually play right away. Like if this dude went to like Bama, let's say, or like I think he's from like DC, so that's why he went to Maryland. But like I'm trying to think of like a good team in the area. Like if he went to like Penn State or something, I mean he probably would play Penn State this year. Like let's say Penn State was really really good this year. If he went to Penn State, probably wouldn't start for maybe a year or two. You know what I'm saying? But it's like on Maryland, there's no reason this guy's not like maybe even their best player by the end of the year, you know?
Right.
So I just think it's really, really good for college football when freshman superstars emerge too, because it's big names that stay in the league for 3 years. Some of these guys break out and they only have one season where they were good. But like when you get a Jeremiah Smith, you're able to actually build that around like the brand of college football around him because he's so good for 3 years. And you kind of rarely see that. So if Ely's a premier defender for 3 years, that'd be really cool to see, honestly, especially for Maryland. But unless you got anything else to say, you want to move to Michigan?
Yeah, let's do Michigan.
Yeah, so Michigan had, crazy offseason. Sherrone Moore, for those who do not know, was accused of sexual relations with a staffer, I believe. And I don't know if it was the sexual relations that got him fired. I don't know if she accused him of sexual assault, maybe a little bit of like both. But he got fired. They moved on from him. I think he had like a mental breakdown or something. Crazy story.
It was crazy, bro.
Yeah, and it kind of looked like Michigan was going to be like kind of screwed. Because to be honest, Underwood looked horrible last year. They lost a lot of talent because it seems like they always have it. And no one really knew who their coach was going to be. A lot of people thought it was going to be Kenny Dillingham. Ended up being somebody that no one really thought it would be in Kyle Whittingham, the long tenured coach at Utah, who is very, very experienced. And I saw a meme that I thought was very fitting for the hire where it was like, hey, they saw Sherrone Moore mess up and they hired Kyle Whittingham. And Kyle Whittingham he follows like 4 girls on Instagram, and it's like his wife, his mom, and his 2 daughters or something. Like he does not mess around. So they're like, yeah, we need to hire an old guy who's established with a family. Like kind of funny. They don't want any more scandals. No. But yeah, they because of this still kind of whirlwind of a crazy off season, their line set a little lower. Honestly, it's a 7.5. Notable players for me: transfer edge from Utah, John Henry Daly. He came over with Kyle Whittingham.
Yep.
Ton of sacks last year. Tore his Achilles at the very, very end of the year, so his kind of availability is very questionable. I think they said he'd be fine, but I would still be a little wary about it. Corner Jair Hill, he's been there for a while. They've been expecting him to break out for a minute, but he's always still been kind of pretty good for them. And then safety Rod Moore. Quarterback Bryce Underwood. Obviously, everyone knows Underwood. It feels like he was #1 recruit, one of the highest rated college quarterbacks ever, maybe the highest rated college quarterback ever. Honestly, I think he might have been. Was committed to LSU forever. Paid an absolute bag. I think it was like $5 million a year, some crazy shit like that, to transfer as a true freshman. And honestly, he was very disappointing in my opinion. I think he showed a few flashes, but for what they were paying him and for what he was ranked, I did not think he lived up to expectations at all. I also know that former Eric Weddle, is he a former Michigan safety? There was a former Michigan safety, white safety. Let me look up if it was Eric Weddle. Yes, it was Eric Weddle.
Okay.
He was at their fall practice, and he went on, I forget whose podcast it was, but made the comments of, I would not be surprised if Underwood is not the starter by the end of the season.
Really?
Yes. Essentially saying, like, he straight up said, I think afterwards, that, like, I don't think he can play at all.
That's crazy.
Like, I don't think he's good enough for that level at all.
Wow.
And this is a former All-Pro NFL safety, I believe, or at least Pro Bowl.
Crazy, dude.
So, yeah, this was, I believe he said this like a month ago. Obviously, you can develop. There's still, 2 months of camp. But, yeah, I'm not high on Underwood at all, man. I'm just going to say that right off the bat. I think that's a huge – I know I spent a lot of time talking about him. I think this is a very big talking point. I think it says a lot about college football and transferring. I mean, you want to talk about the archetype player that Bryce Underwood is? It's literally Jaden Daniels. I think I don't know why he didn't go to LSU. That's all I'm going to say. I think this might be one of the biggest
money,
lessons
bro.
of you take the money now, you get hurt later. Because, I
Right.
mean, if this dude, he should have been a top 5 NFL pick, like hands down, where you're making 50, $60 million a year projected, whatever. And it's like now you might not get drafted. Like, yeah, all right, you got your 20 million. I mean, he has $20 million, so worst things in the world have
I mean,
happened.
yeah, he's our age. And he has $20
Yeah, I
million,
think he's
so
fine,
I don't know
bro.
why we're hating, but
No, but it's still a lesson, man, because let's be real. You assume the kid probably wants to play in the NFL. And maybe
sure,
he
yeah.
can. Maybe he can turn it around. Maybe this is a really big overreaction. But yeah, I just think so much of Michigan's season relies on him, to be very honest. If they cannot pass the ball and they cannot get it going with Underwood, this team's gonna be bad. And I think that's why their line's so low. I
Yeah.
think the books are not. They don't like Underwood. I think they realize the talent on this defense can get them a few wins, but I think, man, they're worried about this. They really are. Breakout player for me, I think they're going to be relying a lot of this run game. So true freshman running back Savion Hitter.
Okay.
He's a stud, man. 5-star, 21st national player. I know he is not the number 1 running back. I believe he is the second behind David Gabriel Georges, who just committed to Tennessee. But I've heard a lot of people be like, that's outrageous. Like, he should be the one. And I think he's an elite running back prospect. And Michigan always has a few running backs pretty deep in their room, get production. And I've heard really, really good things about him coming out of camp. So I think he could be in for a very productive true freshman season. And then my breakout defensive player is corner Zeke Berry. He's been a 4-year
Okay.
Michigan player. He had 11 PBUs last year, 65.8 grade, and I just think he can take the step up, kind of like maybe with Jair Hill, because it feels like Michigan always has pretty elite DBs. I think last year he was like the 3rd or 4th DB for Michigan, but I think this year he's probably stepping into more of a serious role, and they're probably hoping to develop him a little bit better. But yeah, after I broke down a lot of the crazy offseason they've had, a lot of rumors and controversy they've had with their quarterback, what do you think about this all, man? What do you think about Michigan?
I am kind of in the same boat as you on Bryce Underwood. I don't know if I trust him fully, which is why I actually don't mind the line at 7.5.
Me neither.
Their offense,
buddy.
Their offense might struggle like bad. Bad. I'm not. Yeah, and then on top of that, I do think they have good defensive players, but like I'm not high on John Henry Daly. I'm not. High
me neither.
On, they brought in a few transfers, but it's a lot of the same guys from last year. I don't know if I'm that high on this team, honestly. In this conference where I was just saying where there's so many teams that are going to be competitive, there's so many teams that are going to put up a fight. I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. I struggle to like this team. I'm going to take the under on 7.5. I'm going to say because this is just because Kyle Whittingham is a really good coach. I'm going to put him at 7.5. I think they go just under. But dude, there's a world where they go like 4-8 for me. I would not be surprised. Like, I don't think it's going to happen, but there's a world. But yeah, for my breakout players, they've lost both of their main tight ends in both the draft and transfer portal. I've said free agency like twice now. But
same thing. I mean, let's be real.
Marlon Klein was a second rounder, I have no idea how, but he was a second rounder, and then they also lost Brady Priestcorn in the transfer portal. So my breakout player is tight end Zach Marshall, redshirt junior, 6'4", 245 pounds. Minimal snaps last year, but he caught 16 of 20 targets for 199 yards and a touchdown, and he needs to step up in the departure of Marlon Klein and Brady Priestcorn. So for that reason, Zach Marshall is my breakout offensive player. And then for my defensive player, like this is kind of one of the ones where I think he could jump up like in the national stage, is Jair Hill. I honestly think, like right now he's good, but I think he could jump to the next level and be like, a Will Johnson.
Like almost a Will Johnson, yeah.
From Michigan, like a very good corner who goes, second, maybe first round in the draft. I really like Jair Hill. He's had his slip-ups throughout his career, but I just really think this season is the season he needs to put it all together with a good defensive-minded coach. So I'm taking Jair Hill as my defensive breakout player to break out on the national stage. And then, so Zach Marshall and Jair Hill. And like I said, I'm going to take the under on the 7.5 wins. I would not be surprised, honestly. And the other thing is, it's like you have tons of players coming from Utah, and you also have a lot of players who have stayed at Michigan. So you kind of have a mashing of teeth with Utah and Michigan players. So you're going to have Kyle Whittingham, who is from Utah, kind of either establish like what they did in Utah, and all the Michigan players are going to have to learn the system, or Kyle Whittingham is going to have to transfer his knowledge over to the Michigan kind of like way of playing, and then that's going to be tough for him to rewire his coaching system into Michigan. So I just think there's a lot of unknowns with this team in Bryce Underwood, in how they're going to be coached necessarily in their first season with Kyle Whittingham, how many players are going to be able to integrate into that system, and I just don't know in this conference, man. It's going to be tough. They lost a lot of players in the draft, in Derek Moore, Jayshon Barham, Jimmy Rolder.
Yep.
Like, a lot of talent went away, and they also lost some players in the transfer portal. A lot of O-linemen.
Who's their premier pass rusher, dude? I mean, unless I'm missing a big name.
Sullivan, they lost.
I don't really think they have anybody.
You mean like right now? Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's supposedly John Henry Daly, but like, I don't know.
I don't really like him though. I don't think he's as good as Barham or any of the other guys.
I don't watch, and honestly, he's the biggest name on that defensive line. Like,
yeah.
I don't know, man.
And he might be injured.
Right. He has an ACL tear, dude. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not seeing anybody. Marks. Yeah, and I have two things. So I'll say right off the bat, I have been going under. I've been going 6-6. Like, I'm really low on them, dude. They face like a lot of really hard teams.
Well, that's the other thing. They have a tough schedule.
Their schedule is Iowa. Like, I mean, they could lose that game. They face Ohio State. They still have a really hard schedule, though.
They do.
I know that.
That's one of the reasons I had them going under.
Yeah, so they face Oklahoma. One of their out-of-conference games is Oklahoma. I think they're getting spanked.
Yeah.
They do face Iowa. That's a game they could lose. I think, I'm really high on Minnesota this year. I think a lot can come together. I think they can lose that game, honestly.
We'll get to that, man. We'll get to that.
Penn State. Mm-hmm. I think they could lose to Penn State. I think they're going to lose to Indiana.
That's already 4
I think
or 5.
Rutgers is a tough game this year.
Yeah.
I think they're always decent. They're going to lose to Oregon. UCLA, if not Rutgers, I think they probably lose to one of UCLA or Rutgers. And then they face Ohio State. And, maybe they beat them. I doubt it. I think they get spanked. So, I mean, like, they have guaranteed losses to Oklahoma, Oregon, and Ohio State. And then I think and Indiana, so that's 4 right there. And then I think they probably lose to Iowa and Penn State, and then maybe lose to UCLA, Rutgers, and Minnesota. That ain't looking good, bro.
No.
That ain't looking too good.
Yeah.
My floor for them is 4-8. I think their ceiling at best is 9-3. I think there's no way they beat Ohio State, Oregon, Indiana.
We have the same floor and ceiling.
Yeah, well, I mean, their schedule's kind of telling. I mean, like, maybe they beat Oklahoma. I kind of doubt it. But
yeah,
I just look at this team like, bro, their saving grace is Kyle Whittingham, and let's be real. He was good at Utah. It's very, very different. And he's also, like, old as hell, dude. He's been supposed to retire for, like, 5 years. And, like, let's be real. What really good quarterbacks have come out of Utah?
None.
Like, is he known to be a quarterback whisperer? Nope. Is he known to be able to develop, like, quarterbacks like Bryce Underwood? Nope. No. I don't know, man. Like, the expectations for a program at Michigan are way bigger and way more vast than the expectations at Utah. And I think it could get to him. He was good at Utah, man, but he had losing seasons at Utah too. Like, I do not think it's crazy to say they go 6-6, maybe even worse, 5-7. I really could see it. I think that, like, there's just too much that could culminate in, like, a meltdown season for them.
Yeah.
And with the crazy offseason they had, I mean, I wouldn't want to say it's like, okay, they kind of get off the hook, because it would kind of make sense for them. But, like, I don't know. I'm not high on Michigan at all this year, like, at all. So yeah. Unless you have anything else to say, do you want to move to Michigan State?
Yeah, let's do Michigan State. Yeah, Michigan, man. It's gonna be a weird year, I think, for them.
Yeah, I agree. So they do not really have any notable players to me. I don't know if you thought any different. I thought their one was Nick Marsh, and then he transferred. Also, probably.
I said their tackle and Connor Moore was probably their most notable. I think he's pretty.
Okay. Yeah. Quarterback Alicio Milvovic.
I'm gonna get this. Miljovic.
Okay. I believe he was their backup behind Childs, and he came in and looked decent. Like, it kind of gave their fans a little bit of hope, but like you're still a backup, so like I need to see it full season, so I don't love that. Coach Pat Fitzgerald was like actually a really, really solid coach at Northwestern before getting
Yeah.
fired for the hazing scandal. But if just to be
two in a
very
row
honest,
two in a row where we have coaches that are just
yeah, not great. I mean, it's just Michigan, bro. Something in the water. Actually, that makes complete sense. Something in the water. Flint, Michigan. That actually makes complete
God.
sense. No, like there actually is something in the water.
Yeah.
No, I'm so dead
Right.
ass. But it seems like crazy shit's always happening in Michigan, by the way. I don't know
Dude,
if
Michigan. My dad grew up there, bro. He tells crazy stories.
Bro, you have like Detroit is like maybe the most crazy ass like city of all time, bro.
Bro,
Like
Eminem came
genuinely.
out of there, bro.
That's what I'm saying. And go listen to literally any one of his songs, dude. Crazy ass shit. But yeah, I actually don't mind this in terms of just pure like skill off of coaching. Like Pat Fitzgerald is a good coach. He always overexceeded expectations at Northwestern, and I kind of think that's like what you need to do at Michigan State. You need to get back on track. And yeah, my breakout player for them is running back Cam Edwards. He's the transfer running back from UConn. He had 1,200 yards, 5.9 yards per carry, 15 touchdowns in 86th grade. And Michigan State kind of needs to get back to their roots. When they had like Kenneth Walker, they went insane when he was their running back, and they beat Michigan. And I think they were like a top. Did they go to the college football playoff? They might have.
Yeah, there was a year where
they
it
did.
Was like 2017 or something. They went to the college football playoff, bro.
Yeah, and they need to get back to their roots with just their running game, in my opinion. And it feels like they've tried to kind of change to a passing team, but really hasn't worked. And you're never really going to get a big name quarterback recruit. So I kind of like that they're going all in. I mean, this seems like a really, really good player from UConn. Yeah, and that's why he's my breakout player. And then my defensive player is transfer linebacker from Buffalo, Deion Crawford.
Okay.
He had 4 sacks, 12 hurries, 45 tackles off of 7 missed, and a 64.7 grade. I just think overall he can come in and be a really, really good kind of like general of their defense right in the middle. And I mean, 45 tackles is pretty decent. Obviously really good at blitzing too, 12 hurries, 4 sacks. That's pretty damn good for a linebacker. I just think they need some juice on defense, and I think it's probably going to come from one of their transfers, let's be honest.
Yeah.
So Deion Crawford, I think, could definitely break out for them. But what did you think about Michigan State overall?
Yeah, really, like you said, really like the Pat Fitzgerald addition for the coaching staff. I think he's a good head coach. Like you said, Northwestern, he's always kind of had them playing above their level, in my opinion. So yeah, really good coaching pickup for them. Last season they went 4-8. I don't know if they're going to improve that much from last season, just because it's going to take a year or two to get Pat Fitzgerald going. My breakout player on offense is also Cam Edwards. I think that was a great pickup for them. They, like you said, they need to get back to the run game. So I think Cam Edwards could definitely do that for them. And on defense, I also agree with the transfer. I think a transfer is going to make a big difference. Mine is Eli Conan from Illinois, transfer from Illinois. 6'6", 290 pounds. He's a defensive lineman. He had an 80.2 tackle grade in 2025 as a true freshman. He played 222 snaps and had 2 sacks. So, he's coming from Illinois. That's definitely a better school than Michigan State. I think he's going to be an instant starter. So, but if both of our guys in Deion Crawford and Eli Conan break out for them, they could have a solid defense. But yeah, I don't know. I don't trust their offense necessarily. They have a
me neither.
Okay offensive line, and if Cam Edwards pans out, which is an if because he's a transfer still, we don't know, they could have a solid run game, but I do not trust their passing game whatsoever with Nick Marsh leaving along with Aiden Childs. Like, they lost their starting quarterback and their starting receiver. They brought in wide receiver KK Smith, but it's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if he can be a 1.
I agree with you.
They also lose a starting offensive lineman in Matt Golban.
Yep.
It's like, I don't know. Their protection might be weaker. Their passing game that was already not great is going to get worse, in my opinion. And yeah, I don't know. They're just a team that I think is going to need to kind of recuperate with Pat Fitzgerald. He's going to need a few years to do his thing in the transfer portal, in the recruiting classes. Yeah. So I have this team going under 4.5 wins. I think they're going to go 4-8 again in a tough conference. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they'll do better with Pat Fitzgerald. He's a good coach, but I don't see it with Alessio Milivojevic at quarterback, along with their wide receiver 1 is probably going to be someone who is not that great. It probably won't be KK Smith. It might be. I don't know. But yeah, I think their defense will be okay, but their offense is going to be the biggest issue. So they're going to need a few years, I think, which isn't a problem. They're just Michigan State fans have to wait a little bit longer. But yeah, 4-8. I'm taking the under. And yeah, what about you?
Same thing. 4-8.
Okay.
Taking the under. I think their floor is 2-10. I think their ceiling is 7-5. A lot relies on Alessio if he can kind of tap into what he showed in the positives. And if Pat Fitzgerald, he's taking a break from coaching. there's a chance that he's not that good and that it was kind of just a Northwestern thing and
Right.
during that
Yeah.
stint. But there's also a chance that he's decent and that all of our breakout guys break out and they could go 7-5 and maybe get a bowl game. So yeah, I agree with you in the sense of I think it's just a few more years. You just have to
Yeah.
let Fitzgerald cook a little bit, and this team is just kind of bare bones right now.
It really is.
So he just needs a few years to kind of build it back up. But yeah, I'm taking the under until they kind of do that. So unless you have anything else to say,
Nope.
You want to move on to Minnesota? Golden Gophers, baby.
Minnesota. This is gonna be fun. You're a Gopher fan, baby.
This is our year. We're winning the Super Bowl. Sound like a delusional comment. Yeah, we're gonna win the Natty and then go to the NFL and then win the Super Bowl. But yeah, our line is obviously super high because of it. 5.5 wins.
Which, all right, I'm getting ahead of myself. I think is insanely disrespectful.
I agree. I think it's. I will say this: their schedule is very hard.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like very hard. But notable players for me are edge Anthony Smith, guard Greg Johnson, running back Darius Taylor, and edge TJ Bush. Quarterback Drake Lindsey is somebody that feels like some people are very, very high on. I am not there as a prospect.
Okay.
When I say very, very high, I mean like some people think this guy could be like first round pick. Like,
yeah.
He has the size, he has the traits, he has the arm. It's all there for sure. Trait wise, I think there's just so much technically and kind of like footwork and I would say release and overall just kind of going through the motions. There's just so much work before he's a first round pick, but it's there. It's not like these people are out of their minds. It could happen.
No, definitely.
Coach PJ Fleck, it feels like he's kind of been stuck between being a good coach and a great coach.
Mm-hmm.
They pretty consistently every year feels like win 6 or 7 games and then win a bowl game and maybe go either 7-5 or 8-5 or whatever it is, 7-6. Because I mean, we've won a bowl game for like 6 years in a row. Like I think we have the longest tenured bowl win game streak out of any FBS team.
It's crazy.
So we're always pretty consistently good, but it feels like we're never able to get over the hump and actually contend in the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think the stars kind of align this year, though. I gotta think. I mean, Anthony Smith came back, Darius Taylor came back. We had some key guys stay. Drake Lindsey didn't transfer. I think that's huge. Like, the running back is there. The quarterback is there. O-line is looking pretty nice. The defense, they're key players on defense. Man, my breakout player, wide receiver Perry Thompson, the transfer from Auburn.
What?
Are you still? Yeah?
Yes,
yeah,
bro,
that's.
Yes.
Dude, I think he could be so good.
Yep.
Like, dude, he was the 44th player in the 2024 class. And when you're a top 50 player, it's like I always say you're a 5-star if you're a top 50 player because almost every top 50 player is a 5-star on some site.
Right.
And I know I think like 24/7 as 44th. I think most sites actually had him as a 5-star.
Yeah.
So he obviously has been at Auburn for 2 years. Didn't really do much for them, but dude, they've been like really, really good in their wide receiver room. I mean, we're talking about like elite, like high drafted guys. Yeah, and then they had a guy go in like the 5th round when he was a freshman. They've always had talent there. Like it's not like this guy isn't like not good at all or anything. I think he just has been stuck behind like NFL wide receivers, like 3 of them pretty much the whole time he's been at Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he moves to a team where he's probably going to be the 2, maybe even the 1. And it's like I know we kept almost all of our production from receivers. Like we kept almost all of them. So I think adding him to this mix, someone who has an uber high ceiling as a 5-star player on some sites, pairing with Lindsey, assuming you can develop him, dude, I think this offense could be scary. And then Darius Taylor's probably a top 10 running back in college football. Good. Maybe top 12, top 13, but like he's proven he's good. He can tote this rock. Like, bro. And then you go to the defense. I mean, Anthony Smith was what, 2nd in sacks in the country? Was he first? He might have been first. He had 14.5. He's a freak. I mean, he's getting first-round talent, like first-round looks. Edge TJ Bush, the transfer from Cal. I have 2 breakout players for me because I thought one was kind of a cop-out. John Nestor is my one that I think can break out because he was already really good. He led the FBS or led Power 4 in interceptions. He had 6 interceptions, 5 pass breakups. The transfer from Iowa. But I think he could be even better. Like, I could think he could take a step and be one of the best DBs in college football because we have a really good history of really good, like, DBs. I mean, that's what we're known for at Minnesota. And then my other guy is TJ Bush. I mean, he was a really, really solid player at Cal. He was kind of our top guy in the portal outside of Perry Thompson. And I know, like, I was super hyped to get this guy, man, because at Cal, he was easily their best defensive player. I think he had like 6 sacks, really good at setting the edge, I believe. And man, I just think, like, I look at the D line, Anthony Smith, TJ Bush. I look at kind of the DBs. You got John Nestor, and I know we have the rest of our DB rooms still pretty decent overall. I know our linebackers, Maverick Baranowski is one of the better players on our team, and he's, I think, our star middle linebacker. And then I look at the offense. I mean, Greg Johnson is like probably one of the best interior O-linemen in the country. I know we have like 4-star talent all over our O-line because we've been kind of just recruiting crazy O-line. Man, running back room is really, really good at Darius Taylor. And then you have to be excited about Lindsey and Perry Thompson and all the other guys we kept. And I think PJ Fleck's a decent coach. So, yeah, because of that, I'm taking the under. No, I'm just kidding. I'm taking the over. No, I was just, like, trying to fuck with you for a second.
I was like,
no, because I was just, like, glazing the hell out of them. But, yeah, 5.5. I get it, man. They have a hard schedule. I mean, they play Mississippi State, they play Washington, they play Michigan, they play Iowa, they play Indiana, they play Penn State, they play UCLA. I mean, I think they beat Wisconsin, but that's still a rivalry game that gets shaky sometimes. Northwestern, I mean, I think we lost to them last year too. Like, dude, there's like the only free wins that we have that I see are Purdue, East Illinois, and Akron. So I kind of get it. I kind of get why our line's a little lower, but I think we can go 8-4. I know that I just talked them up to be like contenders in the Big Ten. I almost think that this is like a next year thing. I think unless Lindsey really, really takes off, like, I think he's the key. And I get it's hard because after this year, we're going to be losing Anthony Smith. We're going to be losing Darius Taylor, probably some of these other guys. But I think a lot relies on Lindsey. I think the ceiling is 10-2, though. Like, I think we probably, at worst, lose to, like, Indiana and then drop maybe, like, Michigan or Iowa or something. And I think the floor is 6-6. I think the floor is still over this line. I really do. Because I just think the floor of this team you have star players in every single position group. This is the most talented Minnesota team I've seen in my entire life, to be very honest. I mean, seriously, it feels like you could have multiple first-round picks. And that's for Minnesota. You could have a first-round pick in Anthony Smith, Greg Johnson. I mean, Drake Lindsey, if he's good enough, could be a first-round pick maybe next year.
Yeah.
Like, dude, Darius Taylor could be as high as a second-round pick. TJ Bush could be a second-round pick. Perry Thompson, man, I mean, if he takes off, he could be a first-round pick. He's a former 5-star almost. Like, I know I'm talking up a storm about Minnesota, but, I mean, this is the team I'm going to go watch, like, all their games.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm going to shut up and let you give your opinion, because obviously as a Wisconsin fan, you still see this team a ton. You still have opinions about them, just like kind of how I do about Wisconsin. So I'm interested to see what you have to think about this team. It seems like you obviously think that they're decent in a sense, just from a talent perspective, but I am actually really interested to see what you have to say about it.
Yep, I'm a Wisconsin fan. Cam is right. So, by nature, I hate this team. I absolutely detest Minnesota. We're a rivalry. But with that being said, you're going to love me because I love this team. Like, with the bias and all, I love this team. Lindsey, I view him higher than you, I think, just because I think he's going to be amazing on this offense. The wide receiver room, Jalen Smith and Perry Thompson, who is my offensive player as well, breakout. I think Perry Thompson is a crazy steal in the transfer portal. Perry Thompson and Jalen Smith is going to be an amazing duo. And then, running back Darius Taylor, like, dude, he's so productive. He's going to be good. And this offensive line is surprisingly good as well. So, like, you're going to have a good rushing game. You're going to have 2 great receivers. And that's why I just think Drake Lindsey is bound to succeed in this offense. Like, dude, literally you have to respect the run game while also Drake Lindsey has the arm talent to throw. Like, it's going to be tough for defenses to decide what to defend. Along with that, like, you have John Nestor, who's an amazing corner. You have Anthony Smith, who is really good edge. Like you said, the most productive in the country, basically. You add in nose tackle Naquan Crowder and defensive tackle Zion Chapman. Zion Chapman is my defensive breakout player. I just think he's 6'2", 300 pounds. He played his freshman year at FIU. But he got 316 snaps and had 3 sacks and 18 hurries as a defensive tackle at FIU.
Damn, that's good.
As a true freshman, and he's coming over to Minnesota, and he's slated at least to start. So I honestly think he could be a big part of that defensive line, along with Anthony Smith and a few, and maybe Naquan Crowder as well, and some other guys. Honestly, you didn't lose, like, Minnesota did not lose that much talent in the offseason. They lost Devin Eastern to the draft. They lost Coy Parrish, was the biggest one, and then a few wide receivers. that were like, role
Could
players.
you imagine if Coy Parrish was still on this
Dude.
team? You stupid fuck. He had to sell it for the bag. Now he's
Yeah.
going to be a nobody at Oregon. No one's going to care about him at
No,
Oregon. You
he
could have been
might
a
be, dude.
legend.
But yeah. But anyway, yeah, lost a few role-playing wide receivers. But yeah, and then you add tackle Bennett Warren. You add tight end Caden Helms, who's probably going to start. Like, the transfer portal for Minnesota was amazing. You add in that you have a quarterback who has great potential. You add in Anthony Smith, the most productive edge in the country. You add in 2 great receivers, a great running back. I think this team goes 9-3. I really like Minnesota, even with the schedule that they have. I just think this line is disrespectful. And like, you look at this roster, and I don't honestly, like, in a conference that is so good, in my opinion, I have their ceiling at 10-2, like you said. I think they're going to go 9-3 this year. I think I don't have the schedule up, but I think they play Ohio State. Do they play Oregon?
No, they play. So the 2 teams I think they lose to, there's a reality they go 11-1. They face Indiana as their hardest team. I think they lose to Indiana.
They lose to Indiana for sure.
The next hardest game is Iowa. Maybe Michigan.
Yeah. And honestly, I think this team's better than Iowa.
My only thing is we've lost to Iowa, I think, like 9 out of the last 10 times.
Yeah, which is fair.
So
we'll see.
I'm a little shaky with that, but
yeah, that's fair. As a Minnesota fan, you might. Yeah, that's fair. But like,
dude, if there's a year we stuff the run, finally, it's fucking this year. I mean, let's be real. Like,
as an outsider who also hates Minnesota, like, I hate this team. I do not like Minnesota.
Bro hates this team.
No, I'm serious. I'm serious, bro. I'm serious. I genuinely hate the Gophers, bro. And
Bro, what's the hate? We've been asked forever.
Story. It's a whole story, bro. I have an ex from Minnesota. I don't like Minnesota.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair, actually.
It's not even that, though. I just don't like Minnesota. From a young child, I watched Minnesota-Wisconsin rivalry games. I don't like Minnesota, but this team is crazy, bro. I really like this team. This roster is loaded. Like you said, this is one of the best Minnesota teams I've seen. Probably the best, like, roster-wise.
Easily is the one I have, yeah.
Yeah, the schedule's tough. I have them going 9-3. I think they can do it. 9-3.
And they're going 5-7. But, yeah, a lot relies on PJ Fleck and the development of Drake Lindsey.
Drake Lindsey is the biggest piece of the puzzle. If Drake Lindsey is good,
definitely.
I think this team goes 9-3. I would not be surprised.
Dude, I think they go if Drake Lindsey is like as good as, like, better than we both think, I think they go 10-2.
Yeah.
I do. I think you lose to Indiana and then you probably drop like one of Iowa or Michigan, but it's hard for me to be like, I think this defense is going to be super legit, and I don't know. I think it's probably enough Minnesota glaze, but it is really nice when your team, like, routinely is really, really mid, and then they actually, like, it looks like the stars are aligning. So
yeah, no, I know. It's going to be fun, and, like, yeah, I can't emphasize enough how much I hate Minnesota, but
am going to, like, as many of the home games as I possibly can, by the way. I will make that a point. Yes, you can come too. You can stay at my grandparents' house. I'm sure they would be completely fine with that. There's space for you. There's a whole room for you, and I'm sure Walker would be fine getting you tickets. So
hey, we'll talk about that. I want to come, but we should move on. Nebraska. We've been ranting about Minnesota for a hot minute here.
Hey, but when they win the Natty, it will be worth it. We'll be like, hey, we talked about them the longest. Bro, they're beating Ohio State.
Bro.
All right. Yeah, well, we'll get to them later, bro.
We'll get to them later.
We'll get to them later. But yeah, so Nebraska is our next team. Their line's 6.5 wins. Notable players for me are center Justin Evans. Coach Matt Rule was the former head coach of the Panthers. It didn't really work out for him, so he went to Nebraska, not back to Nebraska. And honestly has kind of been moving them in the right direction. They were very disappointed with where the program was heading, and I believe he's had back-to-back winning seasons for them since he started, and he looks to do it again this year. They brought in quarterback Anthony Calandria, transfer from UNLV. He had 3,452 passing yards, 23 passing touchdowns, 9 interceptions of an 89.9 grade, and then on the ground he had 801 rushing yards, 10 rushing touchdowns, and 9 fumbles. So very, very great two-way player, dual threat, can get it done on the ground and on the passing game. Obviously, they lost really, really big. They lost. Why am I blanking on his name? Dylan.
Oh, Dylan Raiola.
Their quarterback. Yeah, Dylan Raiola. To go be the backup at Oregon. Super questionable. I don't understand it, but whatever. They lost him. I actually don't mind this. Like, I think Anthony Calandria was probably one of the better group of 5 transfer quarterbacks that you could get, and I kind of like the threat like the dual threat that he adds to this offense. He makes it very versatile. My breakout players for them on offense it's 2025 5-star. He was a 300 or 4-star, sorry, 320th national player and running back Isaiah Mosey. I think since they lost, bro, why am I blanking on these names? Emmett Johnson. They lost Emmett Johnson. He was super productive for them. I think this is the next man up. I think if you look at their depth chart, he's the projected next starter up, and someone has to fill in for all that production, man. So I think Isaiah Mosey probably does that as a really high former recruit for them. And then my breakout defensive player for them is edge Cameron Lendhart. He's been there for 3 years at Nebraska. So I believe this was his senior season. And last year he had 13 hurries, 1 sack, and a 56.6 grade. But I just think now's probably his time to break out for them. And they kind of need someone to step up on this edge. And I believe he didn't have that many snaps. Like, this was kind of in a limited sample size where it actually looked very decent for him. So that's why he is my breakout player on defense. And yeah, what did you think about this Nebraska team?
Yeah, this is a Nebraska team that after last season had another winning season. Like you said, Matt Rule's been, getting them over the 500 mark as of late. They add Anthony Colandrea, who, like you said, is also dual threat. He's a good replacement for Dylan Raiola, who for some reason went to back up at Oregon. I don't really know why. I couldn't tell you. They also have wide receiver Nizia Hunter, tackle Elijah Pritchett, and linebacker Vincent Shavers Jr. All are pretty good role players. Lost Emmett Johnson to the draft, along with Dane Key, Dason McCullough, McCullough. Defensive backs, Sire Wright and Deshaun Singleton, along with, like I said, Dylan Raiola, and safety Malcolm Hartzog. So they lost a solid amount of players, a solid amount of talent. But yeah, they bring in a decent amount of talent. Anthony Colandrea, some offensive linemen in Brendan Black, Tree Bobolade, and Paul Mubenga. Wide receiver Quasi Gilmer, linebacker Owen Chambliss, and safety Dwayne McDougall III. So I think they replaced the talent they lost pretty well, honestly. I kind of view this team very similarly to how they were last year. Isaiah Mosey is also my offensive breakout player, so we've actually agreed a lot of times. Yeah.
Damn. Dude, we have like 4. We're like
I know.
Barely into it. Yeah, wow.
And again, I will stand on the fact I wrote this in pen before we talked. So
yeah, me too. Yeah.
We are not disagreeing because we talked before this.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, Isaiah Mosey is my breakout player. I just think, what is Nebraska without a good run game? They always have a good run game. Isaiah Mosey is slated to be their RB1. Would not be surprised if he is, a 1,000-yard rusher by the end of the season. And then my defensive player, we do differ here, is linebacker Owen Chambliss, transfer from San Diego State. Had an 85.5 overall grade in 2025 with 3 sacks, 7 hits, 110 tackles, and 8.3% missed rate, 1 interception, and 4 PBUs. So a stat demon. Biggest thing is he played in the Mountain West, so, it's the Mountain West. We'll see if he can transfer over to the Big Ten. But I really like Owen Chambliss, like his size, like his production. I think he's going to be a good role player for this defense. For the over-underline, 6.5 wins. Because I view this team so similar to how they were last year, I just think it's a tough line. Think they could go 6-6. Think they go 7-5. I lean 6-6 because their schedule is not easy per se. So I took the 6-6 as my prediction. Could easily see them going 7-5. This is just, like I said, I view this team very similarly to how they were last year. I don't think they got much better or worse. So we'll see. Maybe they'll surprise me. Maybe they'll do worse. I don't know. I just don't see it with Rule as the head coach. He's a solid head coach. He knows what he's doing. He was an NFL coach. I'm gonna say 6-6. They go under. I'm gonna take the under. Would not be surprised to see them go 7-5 though. So
yeah, very very similar with you. I think they're going 6-6 or 7-5. I'm taking the over. I like probably Calandria a little bit more than you do. I think he can actually elevate this offense, and I think Rule's a really decent college coach too. So I think they go 7-5. Their ceiling for me is 9-3. Their floor is 5-7. There's not a lot of variability here. It's within 4 wins. I don't think they'll be elite, but I also don't think they'll be bad. Like they're just going to be an average team in the Big Ten for me. And I think they were probably blindsided by losing Raiola. I think, if you kept him, then your ceiling's a lot higher because of his ceiling in a sense. But yeah, they just lost a lot of wide receiver talent. They lost a lot of talent overall. And it feels like they just maybe need a rebuilding year to let Rule maybe get some of these star players they lost back through the portal or through recruiting. But yeah, that's Nebraska. I mean, I'm taking their over, you're taking their under, but I think we view them pretty much the exact same way.
Yeah, pretty similar.
So, if we want to move to Northwestern, if you could break them down, I do have my breakout players for them both.
Absolutely, but, I can break them down.
Yeah, you can do a lot of the heavy lifting because I kind of forgot.
No, you're good, bro. Yeah, so Northwestern, coached by David Braun. This is his 4th season at Northwestern.
Mhm.
Wait, is it? Yeah, okay. Wait, am I tweaking? I feel like it was
No, Pat Fitzgerald.
Pat Fitzgerald, yeah.
Yeah, he was the coach at Northwestern. He's now the coach of Michigan State. He got fired.
No, I
We were
know,
just talking about him.
but I have David Braun in his 4th year. I feel like that's wrong. Fitzgerald was their coach.
No, Fitzgerald was hired or fired a long time ago.
Oh, was he?
Like 2022. I think it was
Oh,
2022, which would make sense.
I thought I saw David Braun was in his 4th season. Okay, I was just making sure.
Maybe
David
he
Braun
did.
in his 4th season. Last season they went 7-6. They had an 84.7 team grade on PFF. Key players for them, I have Aiden Childs, transfer from Michigan State. Wide receiver Griffin Wild, guard Izomo Oratokai, I think, and safety Robert Fitzgerald. So they have some decent role players. I think I was a little bit more lenient with key players than you. Like, I think you kind of view key players as, like, really, really good players.
Star players,
I view key players more as, like, players that are decent on their team.
I have it notable. That's what I say.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. I just say key players for
the average college football fan. Would they know them? That's kind of like what I.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I have those 4 as key players for Northwestern. This offseason, they lost Caleb Tiernan, who is a Viking, Evan Bjornston, who I think is also a Viking. I think they took both offensive linemen from Northwestern. Yeah.
I think you might be right. Yeah, that actually sounds right.
I think Caleb Tiernan and Evan Bjornston both went to Minnesota, so that's interesting.
Right.
And then they also lost Antosaka, but honestly, they had a great retention of players for the transfer portal. They didn't really lose anyone other than Antosaka. Like 16 other role players left, but not really starters. And then the additions they made, they added tackle Grant Segrin, who's probably going to be a starter, QBs Aiden Childs and Nico Marchiol, who's from West Virginia. Aiden Childs and Nico Marchiol transferred in, along with, like I said, 4-star tight end Luke Denicky, and running back Gavin Sawchuk, edge Jamal Johnson, and linebacker Kobe McKenzie. Their over-under line is 5.5 wins. Which is what I found. I don't know necessarily because you can't bet on it, but from what I found, it's 5.5. My breakout player on offense for them is wide receiver Hayden Elligan II. He's a junior, 6'4", 210. 74.5 grade in 2025. He had 521 yards and 3 touchdowns. 14.1 yards per reception, 1 drop on 60 targets. The biggest thing is he didn't have like a ton of production. He only had 37 catches. Probably going to get a bigger role this year in this offense. And then my defensive breakout player for them is safety Damone Walter. He didn't play much in 2025 after a season-ending injury, but played 359 snaps as a true freshman and recorded a 75.3 overall grade and a 76.3 coverage grade. So I just think he's going to come back from his injury and hopefully have improved a bit. And then for their offense, like I said, I took wide receiver Hayden Elligan II. For their over-under line, I'm not completely sure. They went 7-6 last year with the bowl game. I don't know. This team doesn't like impress me a ton, but also they brought in a solid amount of transfers. Like their team itself doesn't have like star players, but they're always just solid. I'm leaning towards the over at 6-6, kind of like Nebraska. I don't know, like I just feel like they kind of go over just because they always do. But I could easily see them going 5-7. I'm kind of between the 5-7 and 6-6. I think I'm going to take 6-6 though, just because of what I saw last season. But yeah, did you kind of find your players and?
Yeah. So right away off their over and under, I think I'm going to take the under. You said it's 5.5.
5.5.
Their schedule's hard, dude.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I saw too. I was kind of fighting with it. I don't know.
So they face Indiana, Penn State, Oregon, Iowa, Ohio State, Illinois, Minnesota. I think their wins are South Dakota State, Colorado. Ball State. You probably split Michigan State and Rutgers, and then maybe beat like Illinois or Minnesota, and that would be 5. So that would be under. And I just don't see them upsetting any one of these like really big teams, like kind of zero chance. So I'm going to take their under. My breakout players, and this is risky because Marchiol could start for them. I'm going to take Childs.
Yeah,
I just think the situation at Michigan State was so bad. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm not like this huge Childs believer or anything, but I think he's actually like in a decent coaching environment now where they can actually maybe have him be more of at least a serviceable starter and not be benched, you know. Obviously, they went and got him for a reason. They liked something with his game. So I also think his ceiling is definitely there. I mean, he was a super high former 4-star. So I think Childs could actually make this team. You know, and part of me thinks that if they were to hit that over on their line and get 6 wins or maybe 7 wins, it would kind of be because Childs needs to be that good. I don't really think Martial has the ceiling to kind of lead them to that
No.
season. And then my defensive player, edge Michael Kilbane, or he's actually
Okay.
more of like a interior, 280, so he's a little bit of a tweener, you know. But he had 3.5 sacks last year and 17 tackles, and it's a senior season this year, so I think he probably projects to be their star defensive player, especially or D-line player, especially after Anto Saka left. They're probably expecting this guy to step up into a lot of his production at the very least. So Michael Kilbane's going to be my breakout defensive player for them. And
Nice.
yeah, I think Nebraska they kind of just got cursed a little bit of a hard schedule, to be very honest.
They really did.
Yeah, I do like the direction of the program though. And I like the coach too. So
I think David Braun is a good head coach. That's kind of why I have the over. I just think Aiden Childs is in a better situation. He has more targets. We'll see. It'll be an interesting season for Northwestern because their schedule is really tough.
Dude, did you see their new stadium?
Yeah,
it's huge. It's actually like really nice and really big.
Yeah,
that would be cool to go to a Northwestern game. You know what I'm saying? Like trip to Chicago or something.
I don't like any really Big Ten team other than Wisconsin, but I kind of mess with
Northwestern
a little bit.
I also really like purple jerseys.
Okay,
but
I can't stand purple.
They actually do have like dark purple. That's their shade of dark purple and white. Dude, their jerseys are really good looking.
No, they do
genuinely. So I've always liked them. I always like their colors. Kind of hard to hate them. If you hate them, I would just be like, dude, what's wrong with you? Like, how do you possibly hate Northwestern?
They're just like the chill cousin, bro. They just like
genuinely. I agree. But yeah, if we don't have anything else to say about Northwestern, we're kind of entering the next three teams. It's a gauntlet of big dogs.
Ohio State.
So yeah, Ohio State's the next one, man. Obviously, this is probably the premier team in the Big Ten, along with Indiana and Oregon. Won the national title 2 years ago. Lost to Miami, and I believe the Cotton Bowl, the game before the Natty, I think, and then lost to Indiana in the regulars. No, just the Big Ten championship. Yes, I only lost to them in the regular season.
Big Ten championship. They did not lose to them in the regular season. I don't think.
No, I don't think they did. I think they were undefeated actually. But yeah, so Ohio State's line is set at 9.5 wins, which is pretty crazy because I don't think they've won less than 10 games in I don't think Ryan Day has ever won less than 10 games with them. I think the 1 year was the COVID year, and it was because the season was cut short. Like, they physically could not win over 10 games. But there's decent reason. They have a very, very tough schedule, to be honest. They play Texas, they play Indiana, they play Oregon, and they play Michigan. So all they have to do is lose 3 of those games. I don't think it's going to happen, but we're going to get into it and maybe talk about why that could. Notable players for me are obviously probably the best player in college football, wide receiver Jeremiah Smith.
Yep.
If you don't know about him, go listen to what we had to say in our wide receiver video. We do not need to glaze him again.
Honestly,
what are you doing, bro? Honestly, what are you doing?
No, honestly.
No, it's a great question. You're this far into the video still invested. You don't know who Jeremiah Smith is. I guess. But I think Edge Kenyatta Jackson's probably their star defensive player this year. At least they hope him to be. And then quarterback Julian Sayin. Coach Ryan Day, obviously top 5 coach, probably top 3 coach for me. I would probably have him as the 3rd overall coach in the country. He's one of the coaches active that has a national title. Yep. It feels like he's one of the few guys that could retire in 5 years with 2, maybe even 3. I don't think that's out of the picture for them because, man, this team, he kills it in the portal. He kills it recruiting. He kills it in talent development. He kills it in player retention. It really feels like there isn't anything Ryan Day does that's not at an elite level, honestly. And he finally beat Michigan, which was the one thing that everyone said he couldn't do, honestly. So, this team's loaded at every position. I don't think it's as good as it was last year. I think their defense was, they had one of the best defenses ever last year. So obviously that's hard to kind of recreate, but I think their defense is still really good. Probably still a top 10 college defense. My breakout player on offense for them is wide receiver Brandon Inniss, former 5-star for them, a 36th player in the 2023 class. He's been pretty disappointing, but up in his career, I believe he's a senior this year. He went 36 for 46, 271 yards last year, and then 3 touchdowns for a 63.4 grade. But, dude, let's be real. This dude has always been playing behind first-round wide receiver talent, and it feels like the wide receiver 3 to wide receiver 2 always steps up to become that first-round talent. It was Carnell Tate last year, and I think it could be him this year. I do. I think he's probably their wide receiver 2. It was either going to be him or Quincy Porter. Quincy Porter transferred, and unless Chris Henry Jr. or Brock Boyd, unless either one of them or both of them has ridiculous freshman seasons, which is actually quite possible, it seems. I think he probably projects as their wide receiver 2, and it feels like the wide receiver 2 at Indiana or Ohio State is always elite.
Yep.
So that's why he's my breakout player. And then, man, their breakout player on defense, there's so much to choose from. I was this close to doing Jalen McClain. I think he could be like one of the best safeties in the country, if not the best. He's already elite.
Yeah.
Man, we're going with a guy I think he could be like an Ohio State all-time player.
Okay. All right.
Cornerback Devin Sanchez.
Yep.
Like, he was a freshman All-American last year, 2025 5-star, 8th player nationally. What's impressive as hell about this kid is that for one of the best defenses in Ohio State history and one of the best defenses in college football history, one of the best defenses just we've ever honestly seen with talent everywhere. I mean, the amount of first-round picks, ridiculous. This dude had 323 snaps, was a freshman All-American. Like, a significant starter as a true freshman, dude. He is built unbelievably freaky as hell. He was a top 10 player in the 2025 recruiting class. I mean, 15 for 25, 223 yards and a touchdown allowed. Like, that's not 60.8 grade. That's not even that bad. He was a freshman All-American. And he shouldn't even have been started, like, at all. He probably shouldn't have gotten 0 snaps. That's probably what they expected out of him. And he came in immediately and looked like a stud. I think he could be like their next elite defensive player. And it feels like they just turn out these guys all the time. But I'm talking about, like, it feels like Ohio State produces good defensive players, and then it feels like they produce, like, elite. Like, I think he could be like a Caleb Downs type prospect. Or we're looking at this guy like, yeah, he might be like a top 5 player in his draft. Like, that's how good I think this kid is. So I'm taking his breakout because I think if he had 300 snaps last year, after all the regression, they're probably expecting him. Yeah, like, that's kind of how I view it. So, yeah, man, that's Ohio State. I'm interested to hear what you say before we kind of give our records and why we think they are going to do what they're going to do this year.
Yeah, Ohio State, man, I really, really like them again this year. I don't think there's a reason not to, honestly. Ohio State's perennially good. They still have Julian saying Jeremiah Smith is the best player in college football. I don't think there's much of an argument for that. They still have Austin Sierraveld, who is a projected first-rounder.
Yep.
They have Kenyatta Jackson is probably their best defensive player, like you said. Really like him. Yeah, they lost a ton of talent in the draft, and that's because they're Ohio State, like it was expected. Carnell Tate, Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, Caden McDonald, Max Clare, Davis Nick-Vanosen, Will Kazmarek, Lorenzo Styles, Caden Curry, Ethan Anyuana. I can't pronounce his name. And then, like, in the transfer portal, they lost a few guys as well. Lincoln Kineholtz, James Peoples, the running back, tight end Jelani Thurman, wide receivers Quincy Porter, Mylan Graham, and Bryson Rogers. But, like, this is Ohio State, man. They are going to bring in talent. They're always going to be good. I'm never worried.
They're reloading. They're just reloading.
They add in 5-star wide receiver Chris Henry and 3-star wide receiver Brock Boyd. They add in 4-star tackle Sam Greer, nose tackle John Walker, D tackle James Smith, linebacker Christian Alliegro, safety Terry Moore, and nickelback Earl Little Jr., 4-star safety Blaine Bradford. Like, dude, they completely reload. They're basically already ready again. I wouldn't be surprised if they're just as good because, yeah, everyone's like, oh, they lost all these players, but it's like, how many players last year that were amazing did we not know before the season?
Oh, dude, they won the Natty.
Right.
And then they lost all those, and then everyone's like, oh, they're definitely going to regress. And then they have the best defense of,
they have the best
almost all
defense
time.
Ever. Yeah.
Like,
I'm not worried. I think the 9.5 line is so disrespectful. I have them going 10-2, if not 11-1, just because this conference is tough. And I think my highest record I have in the conference is 10-2. Like, I just think there's going to be, like, there's so much parity in this conference because teams are going to beat each other, and, like, there's going to be a team that loses to one team that beats another one, and it's like, I just think the highest record is going to be 10-2. I wouldn't be surprised. But for my breakout players, you touched on him. My offensive one is Chris Henry, 5-star wide receiver.
That'd be so good.
I wouldn't be surprised. Like you said, for Brandon Inniss is set to be the wide receiver. I would not be surprised if he's wide receiver 2 by the end of the season.
It's not crazy, you know.
I would not be surprised. He's 6'5", 195 pounds. He's not even 20, and he's, like, already getting first-team reps in camp.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous.
Well, he lost his black, they have, Ohio State has that black stripe.
Yeah, where they lose it, like, once you lose it, then you're basically on the team or whatever.
Yeah, and there's every single wide receiver for Ohio State that's ever lost their black stripe before the end of spring, or like the 6th week of spring practice, goes on to be a first-round wide receiver, every single one of them.
Yeah.
I know he lost it, and Brock Boyd also lost
They
it.
both
Both of them
lost
meet that
in the
criteria.
sprint. Yeah, yeah.
So,
And Brock,
like, what are we doing, bro?
Didn't Brock Boyd lose his first?
Yeah, he did.
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
What are we doing,
Like,
bro?
they immediately reloaded at wide receiver. Like,
Yeah,
immediately.
for the next 3 years, yeah.
But yeah, Chris Henry's my breakout offensive player. Dude, his size is ridiculous. He's 19 years old and he's already almost 200 pounds and 6'5". Like, he's gonna grow more. Like, son.
No, they actually have a lab, bro. They actually have a lab. They're just building
crazy.
these guys.
It's ridiculous.
But then, it's not real, bro.
On defense, my breakout player is linebacker Christian Alliegro. I just feel like
Yeah, okay.
They lost
both
their starting linebackers in the first round in the draft. They need a replacement. He's slotted to be their starter. He's a transfer from Wisconsin, so I'm a little biased.
Mm-hmm.
6'4", 247 pounds. He had 4 sacks, 5 hurries, 52 tackles in 2025 on a Wisconsin defense that needed him. And I just think on a team with so much more talent, like he's going to, the load is going to be taken off his shoulders. He's going to be able to move a little bit more freely on that defense. I just think he's kind of a spark plug in the middle of the field. So Christian Alliegro is my breakout player on defense for them. And yeah, like I said, taking the over, I just think 9.5 wins is so disrespectful as a line. I think you could set the line at 10.5. That would be a better line because I honestly think they could go 11-1, 12-, like honestly. And yeah, I'm taking them to go 10-2 over the 9.5 win mark. And yeah, I'm excited to hear what you have to say for the line because I think you're probably going to agree with me. But
yeah, I'm taking the over. I've been going 11-1. I think they lose probably one of Oregon or Indiana. I mean, we're talking like Indiana, Oregon, and Ohio State. Dude, there's an argument that these are the 1, 2, and 3 teams in the country.
Yeah.
Just to be honest. Like, they're all loaded. So they probably lose one of them. Their ceiling's 12-0, though. They can beat every single one of these teams.
For sure.
You know, they've done it before. They can do it again. But their floor is also 8-4 because there is a world where they lose to Oregon, they lose to Indiana, they lose to Michigan, and then they lose to like USC or Texas. I mean, Texas is one of these same teams. You could argue Texas is a top 3 team. Like at the end of the day, they could do this. I don't think they will. Like I said, I think they're going 11-1. But the thing people fail to realize about Ohio State is dude, they're so good at talent development, and it's so funny because people only need to see 1 year of an Ohio State player produce. And they're like, yep, top 5 pick.
No, I know.
Like, Carnell Tate was drafted 4th overall. Before this year, he had like 200 yards for them. Yeah. This was his only productive year. Like, going into the year, Carnell Tate was like Brandon Inniss. Like, he was not productive at all.
No, I know.
So, like, we're talking about Brandon Inniss now, like, oh, he's kind of been a little bit of a disappointment. People were having the same conversation about Carnell Tate. A year later, he's the 4th overall pick. Same thing about Arvo Reese, bro. People forget Arvo Reese. Yes, did he start on the Natty winning? He was a rotational linebacker on the Natty winning team. That's good. He was a good player. He was not even near the elite player that people were talking about. Nobody was when people were breaking out Ohio State last year, they were not saying Arvo Reese was going to be a key player on this defense. Maybe if you knew ball, you were. Nobody was saying he was going to be the 5th overall pick. Nobody. And he's the 5th overall pick now. Like, that's what I'm saying. There's guys on this defense that people are not talking about that will be 100%. A first round pick or a top 15 pick. And it could be Jalen McClain. It could be Kenyatta Jackson. It could be whoever else they have at corner. It could be whoever else they have at linebacker. Christian Alliegro, Peyton Pierce. Dude, take your pick.
I can almost guarantee they will have a top 10 defensive player.
Yeah, I can almost guarantee they'll have a top 10 defensive and offensive player.
Yeah, like realistically.
They probably have 3 on team. I just think, like, you know, with Sayin, well, Smith, obviously. I mean, obviously, he's the one. Sayin's probably obviously another. And then all you need is someone else to kind of like rise up a little.
I'm just saying currently on PFF, they don't have a top 10 defensive player, and there's going to be.
There's going to be. They're just too good. They're too good at talent development. Is Ohio State. I mean, honestly, this is just a feeder program for the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, legitimately. If they had a competent kicker, I think they would have won the Natty last year.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, still right now, I will look you dead in the face and say I think they were a better team than Indiana. I think they played the worst game of their season against them, and Indiana still played like up to their level, and they still only scored like 16 points on that defense. And then their kicker just missed, and it's like they would have won. I think they would have won. And then I think they would have smoked Miami. So I don't know, man. I mean, we're talking about a team that if they won it this year, I'm not surprised, and then they easily could have won it next year, and then they three-peated. Like, it's Ohio State. I actually kind of like this team. Like, like I like watching them. They're not like my cheat team. Like I'm not like a fan of Ohio State, but I love so many of their players too that it's like if I'm cheering for like a cheat team in the Big Ten that's not Minnesota, it's easily Ohio State. And I fucking hate Michigan, by the way. I hate Michigan, so I cannot stand Michigan, bro.
I mean, we're a draft content channel, so of course we like Ohio State.
Yeah, how do you not love them? That's true. That's so true. Yeah, they just produce like cheat code players for you every year. But yeah, now you want to move on to a team that's maybe more talented somehow, like genuinely maybe more talented. Yeah, and the Oregon Ducks, who I know a lot of people are already saying is the #1 overall team. I think they were #2 in the coaches poll. I think Ohio State was #1. A lot of people are picking them for their natty. A lot of people are saying they have the most talented defense, most talented team overall, #1 quarterback. A lot of hype with this team, and pretty damn good reason too. For a lot of the same things we just talked about Ohio State, it feels like Oregon, a lot of these truths are very, very evident with Oregon as well. Notable players for me are edge Mateo Ugalele, or Ungalungle. I can't pronounce it, sorry. Defensive tackle Amari Washington, and then tight end Jamari Johnson. There's so many more players. I mean, Decorian Moore. Dante Moore. We're going to be talking about him as a quarterback anyways. Coach Dan Lanning is one of, if not the best recruiter, one of the best transfer portal coaches. Obviously, he's one of these coaches where it feels like it's not an if, but a when it comes to a national championship. Like, it's just going to happen, it feels like, whether it's this year, next year. I mean, if you told me in 10 years Dan Lanning doesn't have one, I'd be honestly very, very surprised. I forgot if I said their line is set at 10.5 wins, by the way.
No, you didn't say that.
Quarterback Dante Moore, I mean, watch our quarterback video. I'm not, like, super high on him.
Yeah.
But this kid is, for college, he's unbelievable.
I mean, he's still a projected top 5 pick for a good reason.
Yeah. And he probably would have went 3rd overall in the draft last year.
I would say so.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, second. Yeah, easily. And dude, they're so loaded. Their wide receiver room is ungodly stacked. I mean, it's Evan Stewart, it's Decorian Moore, they have someone else I'm not thinking of. My breakout player is wide receiver Iverson Hooks, transfer from UAB. He went 72 for 109, 927 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 82.3 grade. Man, this kid was balling at UAB, man. And then he transfers here. Like, the funny thing is this guy could like get no snaps and he could be like the wide receiver 4, like genuinely. But I think he's really, really damn good, and I think he's probably going to be one of their premier threats. And I think that they're going to be killing on offense so much that there's going to be a ton of mouths to feed anyways. My breakout defensive player is corner Aaron Scott Jr., transferred from Ohio State. In 2024, he was a 5-star, 36th player in that class, and he kind of never started for them. But, I mean, dude, it's Ohio State. Like, yeah, him transferring to Oregon actually just kind of proves to me that, like, no, he's still really that good. Like, you're playing behind, like, Devin Sanchez and, like, genuine, like, top 5 picks. Like, this guy could be a first-round pick, and he's just, like, behind, like, top 5. Like, dude, so I think he could break out for them and be a really good corner. But, yeah, tell me what you like about Oregon. Highlight some of the players I didn't. And, I want to hear what you think about them, man, because they're so talented.
They are very, very talented. Crazy. Dan Lanning, great coach, 5th season as the Oregon head coach. Yeah, key players, Dante Moore, Jamari Johnson, Decorian Moore, Mateo Ugalele. Like, they have a lot of really, really, like, huge name players. That's where a lot of the hype comes in. And unlike Ohio State, they actually didn't lose a ton of players to the draft.
They kept
the transfer portal. Kenyon Sadiq, Dylan Thieneman, Emmanuel Pregnon, Jaden Kennedy, Bryce Betcher, Malik Benson, Alex Harkey were the main ones. But, like, Ohio State, you heard me go down the list. It was, like, literally 20 players.
A ton of players, yeah.
Whereas Oregon lost 10, 9, of their key players. And
they kept all their best players.
And they kept all their best players, and they added a bunch of good players. They added wide receiver Iverson Hooks. They added tackle Michael Bennett III. Coy Parrish, if he starts. I don't know. We'll see.
No, he will.
I think he will. He's just talented enough. Nickelback Carl Williams IV, 4-star wide receiver Messiah Hampton, 5-star safety Jet Washington. Like, they had a great recruiting class, a great transfer class. Yeah, my offensive breakout player is a different wide receiver in Messiah Hampton. 4-star, #1 wide receiver in New York. 6'1", 180 pounds, so a little underweight. But honestly, you see with Tez Johnson, Oregon can use underweight wide receivers. I think Messiah Hampton could be a starter by the end of the year as a true freshman. And on defense, this is definitely a cop-out. I took Brandon Finney, but
not crazy.
He's going to break out and be at, like, I said he's going to be a top 3 prospect in the 2028 draft.
Okay, I thought you were going to say 2027. I was like, huh?
No.
But no.
Yeah, he can't declare.
Yeah,
He can't declare.
yeah. No,
I think he.
I was
I
actually close to picking him too.
I think he's going to be a top 3 prospect in the 2028 draft.
Yeah, that's
I,
pretty high praise.
I would not, dude. 6'2", 203 pounds. He has great length. He played
So he's your
609.
Devin Sanchez.
Yes,
Like,
basically.
yeah, okay. Yeah.
Him and Devin Sanchez are going to be a crazy corner duo in the 2028.
No, actually, bro, they're gonna be battling it out for like number one
Um,
corner, bro.
Yeah, he played 694 snaps as a true freshman at Oregon. Like, played great games against Indiana and Iowa last season. Good games against Texas Tech and Minnesota. Like, these are all Big 12 competition that are good. Like, and he had like 70 plus grades against all of them. Like, really, really good.
Right.
He played well against Omar Cooper. Like, dude, like what?
Yeah.
And he's a true freshman. True freshman. But
Yeah, that shit is not fair. What's
Brandon's
even
gonna-
crazier about how loaded they are, he's probably not even their best true freshman.
No.
DeCorian Moore is gonna be unbelievably elite.
Corian Moore might be a
Like-
top 5 pick in the 2028 draft, bro.
He might be, bro. And then Raiola could actually go number one overall too. Like Oregon actually might have.
Yeah.
Well, okay, He could with Oregon's development. Let's be real. The ceiling's there.
Yeah,
It could happen. Honestly, I don't think it
Definitely.
would, but like it's not crazy to say that.
Yeah, Oregon, man, really, really stacked talent-wise. Their line is set at 10.5 wins, and with all that, I'm taking the under.
Wow, really?
I have them going 10-2. I just think there's so much competition in the Big Ten. Like I said, my highest team was 10-2 in the Big Ten. So this isn't like a diss at Oregon or anything. I just think there's so much parity in the Big Ten. There's going to be upsets. It's going to be a fun conference to watch because I just don't think there's going to be a clear-cut best team through the whole year. It's going to be some back and forth. There's going to be upsets. There's going to be teams that underperform, teams that overperform, and I don't think Oregon going under this 10.5 win mark is underperforming in my opinion. I think 10-2 is a good record in this conference, and I honestly think, like, we'll get to it later with the Big Ten championship and stuff like that. This is a good finish for them in my opinion, and like I don't want to make it sound like the under is bad. I just think they're taking the under because they have a tough schedule, and I think they're going to drop a few games. Like
That's fair. Yeah.
They have young talent, so it's something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, Oregon, man, really, really, really high ceiling future. Going to be really good this year. Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch, man.
Yeah. I have them going over. I'm taking 11-1 for them.
Okay.
I think they lose to Ohio State, but I mean, the fact that their next hardest team is like USC or Michigan, I think they kill all these teams. I think their ceiling's easily 12-0. Their floor is 9-3. Bro, their wide receiver room's probably the best in the country. In terms of proven players, it's unbelievably good. And then, like, DeCorian Moore's only going to get better.
Oh,
Honest to God.
dude,
And then their
and then
defense, we didn't even mention, like, Tatum Tuioti. This is a potential top 70 player. Like,
well, yeah. And in their wide receiver room, you add in, like, Jamari Johnson as a tight end threat. Like, dude.
yeah. And, like, Dante Moore is, he could go insane this year. I genuinely think they probably put up, like, 30 points easily every single game, except maybe, like, Ohio State. Like, I think they're probably winning every single game dominantly by, like, the end of the second quarter. Their run game's elite. Their defense is unbelievably elite. Their coaching is elite. Like, what's not elite about the only thing that I think is like not elite about this team is their linebacker room. I think their linebacker room's like questionable. I think it's the only part of their team, only position group that like doesn't have like a top 100 player. Like, oh no, like, dude, this team is. They're definitely one of my like natty. Like, I'm thinking about picking them. Dude, they're so good. They're gonna be so fun. I think they're like. If I had to pick best offense in college football right now, I'd probably be them, to be very honest. This team is amazing. But if you want to move to Penn State, another crazy team. With the offseason they had, they fire, obviously, the offseason they have is they fire Franklin.
Yep.
And after firing Franklin, they fired him kind of right away in the season because they wanted to get kind of on ahead of everybody in the coaching carousel and hire the best coach available first, and then they take forever to do it. They lose all the other big coaches, and they eventually hire Matt Campbell from Iowa State, who I think is actually like pretty decent. I don't mind this. Although I do think I'd rather have James Franklin anyways, to be honest. Like, I think James Franklin's probably a better coach. So it's a little questionable, especially since they lost a ton of talent, like Chaz Coleman, obviously being the biggest one for me. But notable players for me is Jeremiah Cooper, safety, and tight end Benjamin Bramer. Both transfer players from Iowa State, just following Matt Campbell. Their quarterback, Rocco Becht, is also a pretty decent player, also transferring from Iowa State following Matt Campbell. And, my breakout player for them on offense is tight end Gabe Burkle. He
Okay.
was the backup tight end for Iowa State last year. He went 26 for 38, 301 yards, a touchdown, and 58.9 grade. I just think I'm a little worried about the wide receiver room, so I kind of think you're going to be utilizing double tight end sets and just more tight end usage
Yep.
anyways in this offense. So I think you could break out. And I think he's a decent player for them. And then my breakout defensive player is corner Darius Dixon.
Okay.
In 2025, he was four-star 88th player, and as a true freshman, he had 320 snaps, 78.3 grade, two forced fumbles. He went 13 for 23 when being targeted, 132 yards, zero touchdowns, and five pass breakups. Quietly, I feel like had one of the best freshman seasons. Like, I don't know if he was, but this is like freshman All-American stuff right here. I mean, to be honest, I think Devin Sanchez showed a lot more, like the ceilings showed a lot higher, but this dude like straight up had way better snaps and was a top 100 stats and was a top 100 player still. So, like, Darius Dixon, man, I think he could blow up and be an elite corner for them still. I mean,
Yeah.
like, kind of the same thing we're talking about Finney and Sanchez. So, Darius Dixon, man, look out for him.
Yes,
But
sir.
what did you think about Penn State? Because it kind of feels like they're just the Iowa State Cyclones now, honestly.
Yeah, which honestly I don't mind it because Iowa State was pretty consistent with Matt Campbell, and they
Yeah.
pretty consistently finished pretty well in the Big 12. Granted, this isn't the Big 12, but we'll see. I actually don't mind this team. I like that they added Matt Campbell. I don't know if he's as good as James Franklin, but with the amount of talent he brought in, like, not bad. You know, you bring in literally all of Iowa State, pretty much 38 total incoming transfers. They added Rocco Becht, Carson Hansen, wide receivers Chase Sowell and Brett Eskildson, three-star wide receiver Amarian Jackson, DT Keanu Williams, safety Marcus Neal, linebacker Cooper Ebel, and running back James Peoples from Ohio State, who is my offensive breakout player for them.
Nice.
Like you just said, they don't really have an amazing wide receiver room, so I think they're going to rely on the run game as well, which you saw with both of their running backs getting drafted last year in Nicholas Singleton and
Katron Allen.
They kind of use those double running back sets, which is why I think James Peoples could actually get a solid amount of snaps. You know, at Ohio State, he didn't get a ton of attempts, but on his 62 attempts, he had 5.6 yards per carry and 3.84 yards contact yards after per attempt, along with being solidly sized, slotted as the RB2 currently, so he would get a lot of the more tired defense. I'm trying to remember who their running back one is currently.
Oh, I actually don't know because I know the Iowa State guy transferred to Wisconsin. He did not follow Matt Campbell.
Sama, yeah.
Yep.
I'm trying to.
I'm not sure.
I know for a fact that James Peoples was slotted as the RB2. Maybe he'll be the RB1.
Really?
Yeah, if he's the RB2, he would get a tired defense, so that would definitely benefit his run game. So yeah, he's my offensive breakout player for them. And then on defense, I took edge Armstrong Nodim, two N's. I think that's how you pronounce it, Nodim. He's a sophomore transfer from Oklahoma State. 6'2", 290 to 310 pounds. It's a big range, but either way, it's heavy. Played 243 snaps as a true freshman and had a sack, 5 hurries, 15 tackles. He's a former 3-star, and he's not even 20 years old, so he's still putting on size. I just think they need to replace Denai Dennis Sutton and, you know, some of the players they lost in the draft and in the transfer portal. I think he could be an instant starter with his size. And, you know, he played a solid amount of freshman snaps, so he has some experience. So, yeah, I'm going to have him step up and, you know, be a role player on this defense. And for their win total.
8.5. I forgot to mention, by the way.
8.5. Yep, 8.5 wins is their win total, which I honestly think is a pretty good line. I honestly think they're going to be better than they were last year record-wise. They kind of had a down season, and I don't think their record really reflected how talented they were last season. So with that all in mind, I think I'm going to take the over. Their win total is at 8.5. I like the amount of players they brought in. I mean, if this is Iowa State 2.0, they're like Matt Campbell is very consistent, and you know he brought all that talent with him. I know this is the Big Ten, but I just think that this team honestly upgraded from last season, and I think they're going to do better. I have them going 9-3. I think that's my best estimation. I don't think their schedule is that crazy either. It's pretty favorable.
Dude, it's so easy.
Yeah. Like, no.
You know who their hardest game is?
I'm trying to remember. I don't even remember.
It's USC. And then their second hardest game, dude, their second hardest game is probably Michigan or Washington.
Yeah, that
after
was like
that,
the biggest reason too. Like
dude, if their hardest game after USC and then Michigan and Washington, and neither of those, Michigan or Washington, are really like crazy anyways, in my opinion. It's genuinely probably Minnesota. Like, this shit is free as hell.
Yeah, I think they're going
It's
over.
crazy. Me too. That's a good segue into my I have them going 10-2. Bro, their ceiling's 12-0.
Yeah.
Like, it is. Like, you beat USC and Michigan, it's smooth sailing, dude. And I don't like either of those teams, to be honest. Well, I don't not like USC, but I think they're beatable, is what I'm trying to say, especially with this Penn State squad, which is crazy because this is like the worst Penn State team it feels like they've had in like 5 years. And James Franklin has to be looking at the schedule being like, bro, dead ass. Yeah, no, like genuinely. Why did I have to face Ohio State and Oregon every single year? But yeah, this is such a favorable schedule. I mean, their floor is still 7-5 if everything goes wrong, I guess. But yeah, I have them going 10-2. I mean, drop 2 of the 3 games against USC, Michigan, and Washington. You're still going 10-2.
Yeah.
Like, it's so unbelievably favorable. Yeah. And by the way, the running back who is slated to start is Carson Hansen.
Carson Hansen. Yeah, I said his name. How did I?
I was gonna say, I swear I thought you did. But yeah, honestly, like with Penn State, I really feel like there's not that much to say because it's like, dude, they should just go 10-2 by default of such an easy schedule. Like,
yeah,
you don't even really have to pick up them apart that much because it's just like, oh, they're just like a good team with good coaching, and it's like, no, at all, like at all. So, yeah, they should. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, dude. They probably should go 12. Like genuinely, they're more talented than every team they face. So 10-2, I'll let them drop 2, and yeah, I'm taking the over. But moving on to Purdue, their over under is 3.5 wins.
Yep,
that is our line. Notable players for them, none. I don't have any for them. Coach Barry Odom is I'm not a big fan of. I think he's just like
he's in his
kind of
second
below
season.
average.
Yeah,
but I mean, yeah, he still has so much time, I guess, left that he could prove it essentially. So whatever, it's Purdue. They're never gonna really get him like an amazing coach. Quarterback Ryan Brown is kind of just like very mid as well. Last year he had 2,153 passing yards, 9 touchdowns, 10 interceptions for a 69.1 grade. I believe he is a younger quarterback though, so
yep,
a little bit more of a development, I guess. Hope he gets better than that. Hopefully he throws more touchdowns than interceptions this year. I don't really have anything else to say about them. I'll just get right into my breakout players. Running back Fame Ejeboy, transfer from Minnesota. You know, he was the backup to Darius Taylor. He had 438 yards, 4.5 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns, and 75.5 grade. I think he can break out for them. Purdue, I know he was a Boilermaker legend. Devin Mockabee, he was with them as pretty productive for all 4 seasons. He was a running back. They kind of leaned on him. I think they could probably lean on Ejeboy here to kind of fill in for his shoes. Edge Elo Madozi, the transfer from Georgia. He's at Army for the 2 prior seasons before he transferred to Georgia, and he had 7 sacks, 21 hurries, and 74.3 grade in 2024. Very, very productive. Obviously wasn't as productive at Georgia, probably too big of a jump for him. And I think just transferring down from Georgia to Purdue is just really good for him. Maybe he can tap into the self that he was at Army and be a really, really good defensive player for them. What are your thoughts on Purdue, man? Who are some of your players for them, and anything I missed, I guess?
Yeah, I had key players as the only one I put was tackle Joey Tanona because he's kind of like a cornerstone for their offensive line right now because he plays like 700, 800 snaps a season. So that was the only key player I had for them. Not very impressive team, to say the least. They are not great, and this conference is not going to treat them very nicely. I don't mean to offend any Purdue fans, but they're kind of going to be a free win for a lot of these teams.
Yeah, don't worry, bro. The only people at Purdue that care about sports are basketball.
Yeah, that's fair. I do not
care about football.
Think very highly at all of this team. They don't really have anyone. They lost a few players to UDFAs to the NFL. A few key players transferred. DJ Mays, Rico Walker, Sander Ellis. 29 more outgoing transfers, so they lost a bunch of their players, and they didn't really add many players either. They added wide receivers Xavier Townsend and BC Owens, running backs Fame Ejeboy and Jared Gibson, defensive tackle Rodney Laura, linebacker Jojo Hayden, and then safeties John Slaughter and Jaden Magham. And yeah, their line is set at 3.5 wins. I'm going to be honest, I only put one breakout player. I did not know who else to put, really. My breakout player is a different running back, actually. Jared Gibson, transfer from Texas. He is 5'10", 215 pounds, a junior, had 94 snaps as a true freshman, and a 68.7 overall grade in 2025 with a 4.2 yards per attempt. I don't know. I was just looking for like guys who transferred from bigger schools and would get more playing time. He's not even slotted to be the running back 1. Fame Ejeboy is. I just think he could maybe get some running back 2 snaps and, make an impact on that offense. But yeah, man, I hate to be that guy to Purdue fans, but this is going to be a rough season. I think I have their
Yeah.
floor at 1-11 and their ceiling at 5-7.
Same.
Really?
That's exactly
Wow.
the same.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
3.5 win total. I'm taking the under. I think they're going 2-10 again.
Yep, same. 2-10 under.
I just
Genuinely, exactly.
like I look at their schedule is not easy either.
No, it's not. Dude, they're gonna get passed
it's
around.
It's actually really
oh
sad. It's really sad. I think they play Indiana State, so that's a free win. And then
is it though?
Maybe not.
No, it is. I think it is, but
it should be. It should be.
They need your boy legacy game.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
But yeah, Purdue gonna be in for a rough season unless I don't even know what would have to happen for them to go 500. If they went 500, I would actually piss my pants. I think, bro.
I think Ryan Brown would have to be the second coming of Drew Brees, bro. And even still, genuinely, it's bro, who
do
you
they have him? Who do they have him throw
Yeah.
to?
Yeah, I don't.
Xavier Townsend, bro.
I don't know, bro.
Yeah.
Maybe Michael Thomas comes out of retirement and plays for them. Bro. He has some eligibility
for
left.
Purdue, 43-year-old.
Yeah, dude, he's not that old. He's 30.
I know.
3, I think.
I know.
What could have been?
Yeah, Purdue is going to be rough this year. Don't really want to say much more because it's just getting sad. It's kind of like the Colorado conversation, but yeah.
Ooh, who's worse? If Purdue and Colorado played, who do you think wins?
Colorado's winning. They have more young talent.
I actually agree. Yeah. Damn.
Dude, Purdue.
All right, who wins, Boston College or Purdue? Yeah. I would probably take Purdue.
I would lean Purdue just because they're Big Ten, but I would not be surprised if it was a good game. I'm not gonna lie.
No, good game.
Dude, the worst games are sometimes the best games, bro.
That's true though. Hey, I wonder who's winning right now in the Hall of Fame game. Carson Beck.
Oh yeah, check that up. Let's see who's winning.
Yeah, you actually want me to see this?
Yes, bro. I'm actually kind of curious. I'm guessing the Panthers are gonna be winning.
Who is it? Kenny Pickett, bro?
Yeah.
Is it not starting yet? No.
It should have started at 8 or 7.
Here, a sec.
It 100% started already.
Yeah, it's at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Oh, okay. I look up. This is how bad the Cardinals are. I look up Cardinals game, bro. It shows me the St. Louis Cardinals because they're third in National League Central. Oh my God. The fact that I have to specify the Arizona. Okay, damn, dude. What the fuck? It was 33-30 today.
Whoa.
It was a shootout. Let's look at some.
Who won?
Damn. Panthers won 33. Bro, Haynes King for the Panthers went 21 for 34, 180 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Hey,
Carson Beck Carson Beck actually had a good game. He went 15 for 19, 188 yards and a touchdown.
Okay.
Damn. Kenny Pickett, yeah, looks like immediately got benched for Haynes King. Nice.
Yo.
Dude, Haynes King had 3 touchdowns. He had 3 carries for 40 yards and a touchdown.
Haynes King, bro. He's gonna be starting.
What the? Yeah, Jimmy Horn, 4 receptions, 44 yards. I'm trying to see if there was anyone that we really liked last year that kind of went crazy. Yeah, no one really else notable, but I mean, Jalen Brooks had 3. Being screwed. No, he did not play. Not a single snap. Zonovan Knight had 12 carries for 60 yards.
Wow.
Yeah. It actually seems like it was a pretty decent game. Haynes King fucking masterclass, bro.
Bro, we should have watched, bro. Damn.
No, I actually kind of wanted to. Because it actually has serious implications for the Cardinals season, which I know is trash, but if Carson Beck played good, he's probably going to start a lot more games than people expect.
Yeah,
and he actually kind of played good. So, but yeah, you want to move to Rutgers now?
Yep, Rutgers.
All right, so Rutgers line is set at 5.5 wins. Notable players for me, man, they have some insanely good players at the top, and then the rest of the team's just pretty.
I know, it's very, honest.
But running back Antoine Raymond, who I thought had first-round potential, I loved. I think he's hard-ass runner. And then wide receiver KJ Duff, who I wasn't super high on, but I think you really liked, didn't you?
I like him, yeah.
Yeah. So this offense, 2 super versatile, dangerous weapons. Coach Greg Schiano is one of the longest tenured coaches. We were talking about that earlier.
Yep.
And then quarterback it's kind of a little bit of a battle between Boston College transfer Dylan Longerin, who I believe used to be a really big recruit at Alabama, I think. And then quarterback AJ Sucre, 4-star in the 2024 class. He was 421st nationally. I have heard, though, that it is expected to be AJ Sucre. He doesn't really have any experience, but he's kind of been the homegrown talent getting developed. And I also heard the amazing argument that if Boston College is letting you transfer at quarterback, you're probably unbelievably ass.
For Longerin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I think it's going to be Sucre, or Surachi. Oh, it's Surachi, AJ
Sriracha. Yeah.
Surachi. And yeah, I think their breakout player on offense is going to be true freshman 4-star wide receiver Dizier Carter. I think they need someone outside of KJ Duff because he's going to get doubled literally every single play, and they need someone to produce outside of him. And then on defense, I have edge transfer from Tulsa, Jaden Burnett. He had a 79.2 grade and 7 sacks and 18 hurries. Pretty productive edge rusher at Tulsa, and I think he transfers up to Rutgers, probably be one of their keystone defensive players. But what did you think about Rutgers? Because it feels like they're kind of a glass cannon on offense, and
Yeah.
then everything else is just kind of not great.
Wait, who was your defensive player?
Jaden Burnett.
Okay, same. Nice. That is my defensive breakout as well. 7 sacks at Tulsa, 26 pressures, 1 forced fumble. Good size. Completely agree with you there. I think he's going to be a good edge for Rutgers, and they need it. Their defense is not great. But
no, it's not.
Yeah, I honestly, I think AJ Sriracha can start. I think he's going to have good weapons in KJ Duff and Antoine Raymond.
Breakout?
Yeah, I think I'm going to take him as my breakout because he hasn't really done much yet. But I think one of the quarterbacks has to kind of break out, and I don't think Dylan Lonergan is going to after transferring from Boston College. Yeah, I would say AJ Sriracha, and with the weapons he has, he should put up decent stats. I don't know why he would have to be pretty bad. Like with KJ Duff and Antoine Raymond, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, he's going to be stepping into the place of Ethan Kaliakmanis, who left and was actually pretty solid.
He got drafted. I mean,
yeah, he got drafted by the Chiefs. No, not Chiefs. Who drafted?
Commanders.
The Commanders. Yep, Commanders drafted him. And then they also lost Eric O'Neal, DT Sheffield, Kenny Fletcher Jr., Cam Miller. Wide receiver Ian Strong was a big loss.
Yeah.
So Dizier Carter would probably be my second pick, like you, to step up into that wide receiver 2 role. But yeah, I think Rutgers is going to be solid this year. I think they're kind of going to be like they're. I kind of get them and Nebraska mixed up a little bit because I kind of view them the same, and they're both red. And I don't know. I think they're going to go 6-6.
I can see it.
I think they're going to go the over. I think 5.5. I think they're going to go 6-6. I think AJ Sriracha is going to do just enough to kind of get them there. And then, I just think there's kind of no excuse for them with, 2 potential first rounders on offense. And, you have the talent there. You just kind of need to utilize it. So Sriracha just needs to do enough to get them the ball. Yeah, I think they can go 6. What's up?
Was it Rutgers? Sorry, this is kind of like a weird tangent. But was it Rutgers? Didn't their basketball team have Dylan Harper and somebody else too?
No, that was Maryland. Or no, not Maryland.
No. Yeah, they had Dylan Harper and they had somebody else. They had 2 really good here. Because my point is that they still sucked. And they had 2 top 10 NBA players.
Dylan Harper and...
It was Dylan Harper and basketball, bro. Not football. Ace Bailey.
Yeah.
Dude. And it's they still sucked. I remember they sucked. So it's this is literally the same exact thing. Antoine Raymond and KJ Duff carrying, and they still can potentially suck.
Yeah, they did go 5-7 last year. So
yeah,
that is a good point. Yeah, that line is pretty well set. I think I'm going to stick with the over, but I kind of see your point. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think they're just going to be mid no matter what. So
yeah, I agree.
We'll see.
So you're thinking the over though?
I think I'm taking 6-6.
Yeah, I went 6-6. I'm thinking the over too, but man, their floor's 5-7, and then I think their ceiling 7-5, bro. If they, I think they're going 5, 6, or 7 wins.
I think the other thing was their schedule's kind of favorable. I don't think it's that bad. Yeah,
I think it's there's enough games to win to be mid, but then beyond that, it's I kind of struggle to see them winning anything beyond that. So, yeah, do you want to move to UCLA though?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, so UCLA, their line is set at 6.5 wins. They had a crazy offseason, man. I mean, really, really horrible. But they obviously had a huge upset against Penn State. They hire head coach Bob Chesney from JMU, who obviously took JMU to the playoffs. One of the best coaches in the group of 5, if not the best coach. And he brings a lot of their star players over, which there's actually a decent amount. They were a playoff team for a reason. Notable players for me are safety Tao Johnson, the transfer from Utah, who's actually has the potential to be one of the best safeties in the country, if not already being one of the best safeties in the country. Quarterback Nico Imaliava. Obviously, everyone knows him. Transferred from Tennessee to UCLA to make less money and really, really struggled last year. But, I mean, let's be real. The potential still shows all the time with this kid. He's still a really solid quarterback. I just don't think he had any help. And I honestly, that's why my breakout is running back Wayne Knight, the transfer from JMU. This might feel like a little bit of a cop-out, but, once again, it's kind of the level things. I think he's going to break out at the FBS level. He had 1,368 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns, a fumble, and 81.3 grade, and pretty much single-handedly led JMU's offense to the college football playoff. And I think it's just going to alleviate a lot of the stress that's on Nico, and also kind of diversify the run game because Nico's actually a decent rushing threat himself. And then my breakout defensive player is corner Scooter Jackson. Last year, no way.
No, just keep going.
Okay, 69.2 grade, 19 for 37, 147 yards, 2 interceptions and 3 PBUs and 0 touchdowns allowed on him. I just think he's a really solid corner, man. Like less than around 50% of his targets are turned into receptions. 147 yards on almost 20 catches is not bad. And then 2 interceptions, 3 PBUs. Probably not a smart idea to throw at this kid, honestly. These are pretty good stats for a corner. And I think he can step up and become even better. So, yeah, what did you think about UCLA?
We have the exact same breakout players, so.
Like, both of them?
Yes.
Bro, what the fuck?
Bro, we actually think the exact same, bro. It's crazy.
No, we do.
Yep, Wayne Knight
Dude.
is my offensive, and Scooter Jackson is my defensive.
That's
kind of for the same reasons that you said. I think Wayne Knight, coming from JMU, is going to be productive under his coach that was at JMU. And Scooter Jackson played 254 coverage snaps last season, was targeted 37 times, allowed no touchdowns, 2 picks, 3 PBUs. So, yeah, pretty much the same thing. Like, it's kind of crazy.
That's actually, what are the odds, bro?
I don't
what are the, like, genuinely? I mean, you could have picked Nico, you could have picked Tao, you could have picked. I think they had an edge player come over from JMU that was really, really good. Like, you could have picked him, like, bro.
Yep, I don't really know, but we somehow did it, and yeah, this is our biggest accomplishment of the video.
Yes.
And then their losses this offseason: Garrett DiGiorio, Gary Smith III, Key Lawrence, John Vaughns, and QBs Pierce Clarkson and Luke Duncan. Wide receivers Rico Flores and Quasi Gilmer, DT Keanu Williams, Isaiah Chisholm, corner Andre Jordan, and then they added a couple wide receivers in Leland Smith and Landon Ellis, 8 offensive linemen, 8 defensive linemen, tight end Joshua Pfeiffer, running back Wayne Knight, like we said, and then safety Tao Johnson. So they kind of overhauled, lost a bunch of players, gained a bunch of players. This is kind of a new team with Bob Chesney at the helm.
Yeah, for sure.
Imaliava. This was another line I don't know, I was questioning. There's been a lot of good lines. I think I ended up taking the under just because it's Bob Chesney's first season. He's coming from a non-Power 4 school to a Power 4 school. That takes a little bit of, adaptation. So I've been taking the under. I have them going 6-6. And do we literally view them the same, don't we?
Yes, exactly the same.
What the hell, bro?
No. Wow.
You could genuinely look at the paper. I have all this written down, bro.
No, me too, bro. Me too. Yeah, in pen. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I will say, I don't know if you agree with this. I think they're one of the most volatile teams. Like, it feels like they could go 3-9. Like, that's my floor for them. But my ceiling for them is 9-3.
Okay, my floor is 3-9, and my ceiling's 8-4.
Okay, so at least not the exact same with that, but pretty
not
much.
The exact same. The floor is the same. The ceiling, you have.
Yeah. So, like, for me, it's just like, I think if Nico Imaliava plays really, really good, then your ceiling is one of the better teams in the Big Ten. And if Chesney can kind of adapt to the Big Ten right away, then you're good. But I also think a lot can go wrong. I think this team can kind of do what it did last year. I think Imaliava can maybe regress in a sense. I think a lot of these SMU players could maybe become victim to the level of competition change, and a lot could go wrong. But yeah, I'm taking 6-6 under. I just think probably get a bowl game. Maybe, I would guess that they win their bowl game because I did want to like this team a little bit, but I think they'll be good in the future. I think they're building something clearly, but just right now it's kind of hard, and they're hard to predict too. Honestly, I would not be surprised if they're really, really bad or really, really good. But yeah, now moving on to their rival in USC, 8.5 wins is their line. Notable players for me are just both their running backs and King Miller and Waymon Jordan. Quarterback Jaden Mayava is obviously one of the better quarterbacks in college football. Somebody who can play himself into probably a top 10 pick if he plays really good this season. Coach Lincoln Riley is kind of known as a quarterback whisperer, known as an offensive guru. You look at USC, a lot of the offensive talent they produce. Caleb Williams, we're talking about Mekhi Lemon, Jacoby Lane. These are just some of the more recent guys, for example. Jordan Addison, they just produce studs at wide receiver, at quarterback, pretty consistently. We're talking about some of the best. Ross St. Brown. Yeah, I don't know if he was with them then.
Yeah, he was. USC?
He was?
With, you mean with Lincoln Riley?
Yeah.
It might have been right when he was joining, maybe.
But I know, he developed Baker, I believe. I think he developed Kyler in college too, I want to say.
Something like yeah. I
So
think
this
so.
guy has a pretty elite
He
track
knows what he's
record when
doing.
it comes to developing quarterbacks and developing offensive players. And that's what my breakout for them is wide receiver Terrell Anderson, the NC State transfer. 39 for 54, 625 yards, 5 touchdowns, a 72.1 grade. Man, they're definitely going to miss the production that Mekhi Lemon, Jacoby Lane
Definitely.
produced. So I think that, they have a killer run game, but Mayava's going to want to rip it to somebody. I think this could be the number one guy, honestly. And then my breakout defensive player is corner Jontez Williams from Iowa State.
Okay.
He had an ACL tear in 2025, but in 2024, man, he was probably one of the best corners in the country. I honestly, like, if he comes back looking like his former self, I mean, this is a first round pick easily. 81.1 grade, targeted 43 times, only allowed 16 catches. That is unbelievable. And then he only had 1 touchdown on him, but he had 4 interceptions and 5 PBUs. Dude, that's like the best stats at corner, like in the entire country.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he had Jeremiah Cooper was an elite safety too, so like he did have elite safety help, but like, dude, this is like he is damn good. And if he's like one of the best corners in college football, if he can come back right, I'm not surprised.
Hey,
But what did you think?
An elite safety cannot cause all 27 of those pass breakout or
Oh yeah, no, for sure. So he's somebody I'm really high on. I hope he comes back and becomes a really good corner and kind of proves me right. But yeah, what did you think about USC, man? Seems like they're very. I mean, their defense always sucks, but their offense is always crazy.
Yeah, I kind of like them similarly to last year, even though they lost Mekhi Lemon and Jacoby Lane. I had their key players as Jaden Mayava, edge Cameron Crawford, linebacker Desmond Stevens. Their 2 running backs, like you mentioned, and then wide receiver Tuna Hines, who I also think is going to step up as well. I mean, he had a pretty good true freshman year. He's kind of lined up for that. But then, yeah, like you said, they add Terrell Anderson. I think he's going to be good. They add 4 stars Caden Dixon Wyatt and Trent Mosley as well. So they kind of just reload. They had like the best recruiting class in the country, if I remember correctly.
Well, they did. Yes.
It was really, really good. And that leads me to my breakout player on offense is tight end Mark Bowman. 4 stars, 42nd ranked recruit in the 2026 class. The second tight end, and he is 6'4", 245 pounds. And I just feel like USC always seems to have a solid tight end in play. He's slotted to be their tight end 1. They lost Lake McCree. I think he's going to step up into that tight end 1 position right away as a true freshman. But we'll see. It'll be interesting. And then for defense, I have defensive back Alex Graham, 6 foot, 200 pounds, played 140 snaps as a true freshman and allowed no touchdowns with a 79.5 run defense grade and an 87 tackle grade. So I just think he's slotted again to be a starter. I think he plays the nickel. I think he's like kind of like a safety hybrid.
If his run defense grade is really high, probably.
It's almost an 80 run defense grade. So I think he's going to be a good player for them. Kind of step in for Bishop Fitzgerald or Kamari Ramsey, that kind of position.
Yep. Either of them, yeah.
So, yeah, Alex Graham is my defensive breakout. And then their over-under is 8.5 wins. Looking at this roster, I honestly, like, their wide receiver room took a hit as of now. Maybe it'll look good during the season. But yeah, you lose Mekhi Lemon and Jacoby Lane, you're 1-2.
Biletnikoff winner, I mean.
Biletnikoff winner. It's going to be really, really hard to replicate that. And then you also lose Lake McCree, like I said. You lose a few other role players. I don't think it's as good, but I still think this is a good team. It's going to be a competitive team in the Big Ten. I'm taking the over. I think they're going to go 9-3. Yeah, it'll be interesting. They could definitely go under, though. I see them as 8-4, 9-3. And I really don't see them much differently than that. I lean over, but we'll see. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, I'm actually going to take the under.
Okay.
I have them going 8-4. Dude, they low-key have the schedule from hell.
They do. That is the
biggest
thing.
They face Indiana, Ohio State, and Oregon. I think they lose all 3 of those games, and then they can only lose 1 more. And then on their remaining hard games, they have Rutgers, Washington, Penn State, Maryland, and UCLA, and Wisconsin, who upset teams last year at times. So they could lose any one of those games. I don't think they upset any. I mean, like, maybe they beat, like, Indiana, maybe, if their offense is firing on all cylinders, which it really could be. Man, they could have the best offense in the country, too. I mean, I actually think their wide receiver room, like, yes, they lost a ton, but it feels like they always replace them pretty decently. But, like, Terrell Anderson's pretty decent. The guy, I know you highlighted a few of their receivers as well that could step up. It's like, I think they'll be fine. And, dude, Waymon Jordan and King Miller are, like, going to be both studs. Like, dude, these guys are
King Miller
elite.
was great last year.
He was elite. And then, when he was injured, Waymon Jordan, or I think it was the other way around. Waymon Jordan was the starter. He got injured, and then King Miller came in, and everyone was like, oh, wow, they're just actually that loaded. And then their ceiling is 10-2 for me. Like, I think they could upset some of these teams because they could have a lot of these freshmen contribute. I know they had like the 3rd overall player edge, Luke Waffle, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
White boy defensive end, like fucking huge kid. But I think their floor is also 7-5 because I think they could just drop a lot of these teams. I don't really know what to predict. I'm kind of just assuming that they're not going to win any of these big games because they really never do. And then I think their defense isn't going to be that great because, like, it never really is. And I feel like they kind of, like, if I had to guess, I think their offense is probably going to be worse. Like, all these guys that we highlighted were on the team last year, and then they lost McKylum and Jacoby Lane. So it's like, I still think it could be good, and I think at any given day it can be the best offense in college football. But I just think the consistency and some of the star players that they lost, it just makes it hard. So
Yeah,
I'm going to take the under. But, I mean, they'll be interesting to watch because they have a lot of players that could break out and be really, really, really good.
Oh, yeah, definitely. They have the skills there. They have the talent.
Yeah. You want to move to Washington then?
Yeah, Washington's up next.
So their line is 7.5 wins. Notable players for me, I don't really have any. Damon Williams is probably their one, but I'm just going to cover him in the quarterback section. Obviously, we did not touch on him in the quarterback video. I very regret that choice. I wanted to. He's very short. I think he's 5'9", 5'10". He's very, very, still really, really good quarterback. Obviously, their offense last year was really, really damn good. Dude, who is their wide receiver last year? They always have a really, really good wide receiver. No.
Oh, Denzel Boston.
The connection they had obviously was really, really good. And funnily enough, you mentioned my offensive breakout player, Desmond Roebuck. As a true freshman, he went to 42 for 59, 560 yards, 7 touchdowns, 70.1 grade. Man, he's going to double that. I think he's the next Denzel Boston. Yeah. Washington always produces elite wide receiver. Bro, they're sneakily like a top 5 wide receiver factory. I mean, seriously. Yeah. I mean, Roma Dunze, I know he just retired, but Jalen Polk was still a 2nd-round pick. I mean, we're talking about...
Puka Nacua was on Washington for a while, wasn't he?
Was he?
I think so.
Know that. I thought he was just on BYU.
Hold up. I'll check. I might be wrong.
But head coach Jed Fish, I feel like, is actually a pretty decent coach. He always has Washington play pretty decently. Yep.
Washington from 2019 to 2020.
Wow. Okay, so they did have Puka Nacua.
Yeah,
okay.
How's that ball?
Actually, I'm very surprised. Yeah, that's good pull. And my breakout defensive player is edge Jacob Lane. He had a 67.3 grade last year, 5 sacks and 23 hurries. I just think he probably adds a few more sacks, adds a few more hurries, and probably becomes one of their premier defensive players. But what did you think about Washington, man? They're a very interesting team in this conference.
This is a very interesting team. This is Jed Fish's 3rd season. They went 9-4 last year with the bowl game, 90.6 team grade on PFF. Damon Williams is proven to be a reliable starter. He's been good. Definitely should have covered him. We probably will sooner or later. I think he's going to get draft hype eventually. And then you also have guard Girian Hatchett, safety Alex McLaughlin, and wide receiver Desmond Roebuck, who you mentioned as your breakout player. All key players for me that I wrote down. This offseason, they lost Denzel Boston, Takario Davis, Jonah Coleman, Carver Willis, Ephesians Prysock, and Ontario Thompson to NFL draft. They also lost running back Adam Muhammad, which was kind of a shock for them. They didn't really think he was going to leave, but he just, along with wide receivers Kevin Green Jr., Raiden Vines-Bright, who is my breakout player for Arizona State, and then Marcus Harris, safety Vincent Holmes, and linebacker Devin Bryant were all losses to the transfer portal. But, they did pretty well adding through recruiting and the transfer portal. They added tackle Cody Green, 5-star tackle in the recruiting class.
Oh, wow.
Along with, wide receiver Christian Moss, running backs Jaden Lemar and Trey Cooley, and 4-star defensive lineman Derek Coleman-Brusa, and then cornerback Emmanuel Carnley. So they did pretty well replacing the guys. I don't know if they replaced all of them, but they did pretty well to replace some of the big ones. My offensive breakout player is a different wide receiver, true freshman 4-star wide receiver Jordan Clay. He is 6'3", 207 pounds, listed as the Z wide receiver 2 currently, but I think he could start over Rashid Williams, who is currently the projected starter in that position. He just has more length, more size, and he's younger. I just think he has higher ceiling, so I really wouldn't be surprised if he was starting by the end of the season. And then on that defensive side, cornerback Dylan Robinson is my breakout player. 6'3", 210 pounds, played 371 snaps as a true freshman. He had a 90.5 run defense grade and only allowed 1 touchdown on 233 coverage snaps, 1 forced fumble, and a sack as well. And he has excellent length, 6'3", as a corner. Really, really like him. Could see him being a top corner prospect in the upcoming years.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
with we saw with Ephesian Prysock and Takario Davis, they were pretty high. At least Takario Davis was. He was the top 3 rounder. But yeah, Dylan Robinson, watch his name. I think he's going to be a name to watch. And then for this over/under line, 7.5 wins. I don't mind their schedule, honestly. I don't think it's horrible. I think they can get over this 7.5 total. You still have your starting quarterback. You reloaded your wide receiver room. I just think that they have a solid defense, solid offense, and Jed Fish has proven that he can coach this team to a good season. I'm going to take 8-4 as their record to finish the year. Get over that win total by half a game. And yeah, I'm interested to hear what you have to say for their win total.
I'm not as high on them. I think
Okay.
they have too many young players and too many important positions. I think they lost sneakily amount of like key defensive players for them that were like
They kind of
actually
did,
pretty
yeah.
decent. I have them going 6-6. Like they probably still make a bowl game and win it. Their ceiling definitely is 9-3, but I think their floor is 5-7. I mean, they just face like, man, I think they lose to USC. I think they lose to Indiana. I think they lose to Oregon. I think they lose to Penn State. I think you have hard games against Nebraska, Iowa, and Minnesota. And then it's like, I mean, yeah, you'll get a free win out of Michigan State and Purdue.
Mm-hmm.
I find it hard to believe that they win 2 of these 3 games in Nebraska, Iowa, and Minnesota, which they would have to do to go over. So
Right.
I just have them going 6-6. I mean, Damon Williams, though, I mean, anytime you have an elite quarterback, your ceiling is they could do it. I wouldn't be surprised. But I feel like they're always a fun team to watch. Once again, love their jerseys purple. I do like that. Also, they have like the most beautiful stadium in the Big Ten. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Isn't it by the mountains?
No, it's right. I think it is, but then it's right on the water too, and it's open.
Really?
Yeah, and I think the mountains are on the backdrop. And obviously, I mean, like Washington and Oregon are probably 2 of the most beautiful states in the United States. So
In the continental United States, at least, like excluding Alaska and Hawaii, and
yeah,
Oregon and Washington are sick.
yeah. So I mean, that just has to be a dope place to play college football. I mean, I think that would probably be one of my favorite teams to go to if I was like a top recruit. But yeah, honestly, Washington, their volatility is very high for me once again, just because of that quarterback. But the rest of the team just kind of being average is like. But I do have to say, I know I shouted him out. Desmond Roebuck had very sneakily like one of the best true freshman seasons at wide receiver. I mean, like, I think he was more productive than Decorian Moore.
He's a good slot guy, yeah.
And they like almost always produce wide receiver talent at a very elite level. So I feel like the fact that I did not hear about his name, I'm like, why are we not talking about Desmond Roebuck?
No, I know.
So
I almost put him as my breakout.
Yeah. So watch out for him, I guess. He's gonna be someone I'm watching out for at the very least.
I think he could have a great season, 1,000 yards plus.
Yeah. And with that, we're moving on to the last team in the Big Ten. Long awaited, the best team. They're winning the Natty. They're winning the Big Ten this year. The Wisconsin Badgers.
The Natty, bro.
Dude, that would actually be sick. I'm not gonna lie. We get to beat up Lil Bro for the Natty win. Yes. Sorry, but it's fine. We all know that Wisconsin will never make it to the Natty this year, anyways.
No way in hell.
But their line is set at 6.5 wins, which I actually feel like is kind of generous. Like, am I crazy for that? I mean, they went 4-8 last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you almost double your win total. I mean, okay, hey, books thinking they're doing something right. I mean, that has to be a positive sign. Notable players for me is running back Abu Sama, the transfer from Iowa State, who is like I think gonna be really, really good for them. I mean, obviously Wisconsin track record with running backs is first rate. I mean, there's like a few SEC teams that probably beat them, but they're definitely like top 5, maybe 6, 7 around that range. Coach Luke Fickell it's weird. I'm going to be honest, because it feels like Wisconsin fans want his head, but then the AD goes and I think he got a new contract like after this year.
Through 2032.
Through what? I'm sorry, what year did you just say?
2032. I'm pretty sure.
like we're talking about like 6 years from now?
Yep.
Okay. And how many games did they win last season?
4.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, that's right. Yeah. But, I mean, funnily enough, before Fickell was the coach at Wisconsin, I mean, this guy led Cincinnati to the 4-team college football playoff.
Such a big disappointment, bro.
Yeah. So, I mean, it feels like you have some people be like, well, no, it's not him. He wasn't given the NIL he was promised. And I think he kind of strong-armed the athletic director and was like, if you don't give me the NIL, I'm leaving, and then you guys are really fucked. So the athletic director gave him a contract extension while also promising to give him a lot more NIL. And I guess we'll see probably what his true colors are really in the next 2 years, but he hasn't shown great things up to this point, to say the least. However, I will say after being the worst passing team in FBS football last year, worse than Iowa.
Yep.
Wisconsin was the worst passing team last year.
Very 30.
They get, they go and get a really, really good transfer. Like, I love this. He's my breakout offensive player. Colton Joseph, the quarterback from Old Dominion. He had 2,629 passing yards, 21 passing touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 78.9 grades. And then on the ground, he had almost 1,100 rushing yards, 13 rushing touchdowns, 12 fumbles. Isn't great, but 78.9 rushing grade still, or 79.9 overall grade. Great dual threat mixed with Abu Sama. I think this at least, like, your offense has to be better than it was last year at minimum. Like, it has to be. I also think like the passing is still like, I mean, ODU to Wisconsin is really big, but and Colton Joseph is still only not like ridiculously productive. I mean, 21 touchdowns and 10 interceptions isn't like amazing.
Yeah.
But I think with the threat of Abu Sama and his legs, I think like the run option is going to be decent enough where I think they'll be able to pass at a serviceable level. Like, will it be elite? Will it be better than 50%? Probably not, but it's definitely going to be better than dead last. And like, they still upset bad teams or good teams last year, so maybe they win a few more. The one sign of hope for them is my breakout defensive player in Mason Posa. Now, he was, I believe, an All-American freshman, correct? Freshman All-American?
Yeah, that's kind of why I didn't have him as a breakout because
and I think Wisconsin fans know about him, but honestly, nationally, unless you're keeping up with freshman All-Americans, I did not hear this guy get a lot of love. So I'm going to kind of shut him out really quick.
Really good.
Not to mention that I also don't think Wisconsin has a lot of other guys that are kind of worthy of mentioning, to be very honest. But 80 overall grade, 5 sacks, 7 hurries, 43 tackles, 7 missed. And then in coverage, he wasn't great, allowing 25 receptions on 25 targets, 246 yards, and 3 touchdowns allowed, but did have a PBU. But as a run defending linebacker, as a true freshman, this guy looks amazing. If he can learn coverage just a little bit while also improving upon his run defending skills, this is easily a maybe day 1 player. I mean, his coverage would have to improve a ton, but definitely a high day 2 player linebacker whenever he's draft eligible. And somebody that you assume only gets better for Wisconsin, that kind of commands their defense. So I think he's definitely somebody who could get only better and better. Like I said, hopefully improving upon his coverage abilities. And overall, just probably being the captain of Wisconsin's defense for the next 2 years. Sure. But what did you think about Wisconsin? I'm sure you have some choice words and opinions about him, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually don't mind what we've done this offseason. Being completely unbiased,
I agree.
I actually don't mind it at all. Mason Posa, like you were just saying, I had him as the one key player I listed. I actually, because I'm a Wisconsin fan, I knew about him for a while. He was easily our best player last year. Easily.
Yeah.
And
I think so.
He was a true freshman. Like, and I honestly, the biggest surprise to me was that he didn't transfer, like, and he decided to stay with Wisconsin. That was like amazing. I was so happy. Because this dude is the real deal. I think he could definitely be a first rounder eventually. I think more likely a second or third, but I would not be surprised if he jumped up that far if he improved his coverage skills. But yeah, as a run defender, this dude's already fully developed as an NFL like ready run defender, and he's only a freshman. So we'll see how he continues to develop. Really love him. But yeah, my offensive breakout player is also Colton Joseph. Really like the dual threat ability. We haven't really had a great dual threat quarterback. We usually just have a stand in the pocket guy, as of recently at least. So it'll be interesting to just have a guy who could escape the pocket and run. I just noted that he needs to fix his turnover issue because if he I just feel like all these Wisconsin quarterbacks we've had recently have just sucked at turning the ball over. So that was kind of a red flag for me. But otherwise, I like the ability of him being able to pass for 2,500 yards and rush for 1,000. Like, that's good.
Yeah.
Granted, it's on Dominion, but hopefully he can do somewhat similar on Wisconsin because we need it. We haven't had a good quarterback in 10 years, bro. Since Russell Wilson, like, we have not had a good quarterback like since then.
Which is like, bro, Russell Wilson was like 15 years ago, wasn't he?
Yeah. Like, legitimately. Yeah. We have been a run-heavy team for the last 15 years. We need a quarterback who can be serviceable. It just feels like we keep getting four-star, 3-star quarterbacks who cannot play. And I don't know if it's our coaching scheme. I don't know. But hopefully
probably a little bit of both.
Probably a little bit of both. But hopefully Colton Joseph can kind of turn that around a little bit. I think it's definitely possible. I have hope. I don't know how. I had no idea. But some of the losses Wisconsin had were JVR Suggs, Parker Peterson, Jaden Ballard, our kicker Nathaniel Vacos, who was actually pretty solid, linebacker Christian Alliegro, who went to Ohio State, And the fact that our second listed biggest loss at transfer or for the transfer portal was our punter Atticus Bertrims. We really didn't have many players available, and then defensive back Devin Riley and offensive lineman Mitch Waring were 4 of the 44 players who entered the portal. So we literally had a complete redo of our team this offseason, like just completely wiped it clean. We're starting over. Bring in Colton Joseph. Bring in Abu Sama. Great pickup there. Love that. Bring in guard PJ Wilkins. Center Austin Kowecki. Tight end Jacob Harris. Defensive tackle Hammond Russell IV. Cornerback Javon Robinson. Safety Marvin Burks. And nickelback Bryce West from Ohio State, which I really liked. Yeah, my defensive breakout player is linebacker Cooper Catalano. Played 362 snaps as a true freshman.
He was the other good linebacker. Yep.
Had a 69.4 grade and joins a tandem with rising star Mason Posa. Really like him. Think that he and Posa could be a good duo after the departure of Allegro. So Cooper Catalano is my defensive breakout player. Honestly, the over-under 6.5 wins. I look at this schedule, man. It's kind of cake. Like,
let me pull it up.
I was getting excited for the wrong reasons this offseason because I saw our schedule drop, and I'm not going to lie, the hardest game, we have Notre Dame, and then after that, the hardest game is USC, I believe. Like, it's not bad.
USC or Penn State.
USC or Penn State, and honestly, I am going to take the over on 6.5 wins. I might be falling for it again. And I know I might be biased, but I see the potential in Colton Joseph. I see the potential in having Abu Sama and him in the backfield and having kind of a dual threat backfield. I know we don't have a great receiver room, but I think they're serviceable. And then our defense is the cornerstone of our team. Like, our defense was the biggest reason we were in games last year. Like, we have a solid defense. I don't think it got much worse. I think it's about the same. So I'm just hoping we improved our offense a little bit, maybe improved our defense a little bit. And I honestly think with the schedule we have, we can go 7-5. I honestly do. I would be very excited if we did because we have not been very good with Luke Fickell. And I just want to see Luke Fickell do something. Like, he came in and we were expecting him to win like 10 games a season, 9 games a season. And dude's giving us 4 and 8 seasons. Like, and every season after we hired him, we were just like, well, he needs another year to keep going. He needs another year.
How long has he been the coach?
4 years. This is his 4th season. Yeah. So I'm starting to lose hope. And when I say starting, I mean I've already lost hope. So I'm kind of just coping, and I hope we can.
We're taking that over.
We're taking the over. We're taking the over because why not, bro? 7-5. That's what I have as our final record. I think our schedule is favorable, but I'm definitely gonna eat my words, and we're gonna go 3-9. So.
I mean, let's be real. What's the point of being a fan of a team if you're not stupidly delusional about them? I mean,
I need to be a little delusional,
especially in college, man, when it feels like anything can happen. NFL's a little different, but
for sure.
Yeah, for me, I'm gonna take the under. 5-7, dude. I need to see so much more from the coach. Colton Joseph was my breakout player, kind of out of no one really else being good, and also he needs to be. And like at the end of the day, bro, like you're not 21 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. Like you have to assume it regresses. So what are we looking at? Like 18 touchdowns to like 13 interceptions. That's not that good. 12 fumbles still. I mean, we're talking about a guy who had 22 turnovers against ODU comp. I mean, let's say it even goes up by 25 turnovers, and they're gonna be worse than a lot of teams they play. Like you can't do that. I just look at their schedule like it's not bad. I agree with you, but this is a team that was not good last year. No. And a lot of their wins, they shouldn't have won. They were upset wins. And yes, they still did, but like, I agree with you, man. Posta's going to be good. The linebacker core is going to be good for sure. Outside of that, I'm not really confident in anything on this team, to be honest. I think they probably lose to Minnesota. I think they probably lose to Iowa. I think they'll probably lose to Penn State, USC. I think they probably lose one of Maryland or Rutgers, and I think that would make them at that point 5-7 if I'm not wrong. And then they probably drop one of UCLA, Michigan State, or Purdue. And then you lose to Notre Dame, obviously too. So it's like I don't think it's good that they're starting their season 0-1, honestly, and probably going to get stomped badly. I mean, like let's be real, that's not a good tone setter. And I don't know, man. I just need to see it from Fickell. I do. Could he do it? Yeah. Maybe. I mean, Wisconsin's just in-state recruiting for them. If they just lock down that, I mean, they'll get so much 4 stars out of that. And they should dominate the region.
Right.
There's no one else
like
that should.
Did a little bit better this last year, but I'm just still not. I don't know.
But like, dude, if he can't do anything, I mean, like, to be honest, if this is like the transfer portal with this new NIL, I mean, it wasn't even like that amazing. It was fine. Like, I do like Abu Sama. Like, I really do. I like him. I think he'll be good. But like
Yeah.
him and Colton Joseph, it's like you couldn't add like a wide receiver. You couldn't add like a star O lineman. You couldn't add anybody on defense. That's really super notable. I like at the end of the day, your two best defensive players are still true sophomores, both of them. Like, I don't know. I'm just gonna take the under until proven otherwise. And
That's
if they
fair.
win 7 games, good for them. I think they go 5-7. I think at best they probably go 6-6. Maybe they win a bowl game and go 7-6 then. But I just
Yeah.
need to see it, to be honest. So
Yeah, fair enough.
yeah. But that
Understandable.
wraps up our video, man. Super very long video. I think it's because a lot of top
Yeah,
top teams.
do we want to predict our Big Ten championship?
Oh, yeah. So offensive player,
Oh yeah, offense. Yeah.
defensive player, and championship game.
Yep.
So my offensive player is pretty obvious. It's going to be Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, that's mine too. I'm just gonna throw that out there right away.
Defense, I don't know. To be very honest, there's some good. Like I could be like really crazy and be like Devin Sanchez, dude. It's
Well, I mean,
hard.
I'm gonna go Brandon Finney if that makes it easier for you.
You know what? It's a biased pick, but it actually makes sense. Let me take my boy Anthony Smith.
Anthony Smith, yeah.
Let me do it. It makes sense. 14.5 sacks last year. You think he only gets better this year. I mean, this is somebody that could have 15 plus sacks, genuinely move himself into the first round. Maybe he won't be better. Maybe he will not. He probably will not be the best defensive player in this Big Ten conference. But can he be one of the best? Yes. And I think that
so.
me kind of predicting that is definitely something to be worthy of him being my decoy in a sense. So, yeah, my championship game is going to be Ohio State versus Oregon. And I think Ohio State wins. So.
Now I kind of don't want to say that. I was going to say the same thing.
Well, it's
because I was genuinely going to go Ohio State, Oregon. I could see.
You don't have to change it if just off that.
Honestly.
So.
No, I know. I that would have been. I will preface that would have been my pick, but I was just going to go over like some possible scenarios. I think Indiana could easily be back, like for sure. Definitely, I think Penn State could be a sleeper just because their schedule's so easy that.
I don't think they have a chance at winning it, but they could definitely beat.
No, I don't think they'd win if they got in, but they could definitely get a good enough record to qualify. And then I think another sleeper. I'm trying to think here.
Minnesota.
I actually was gonna say Minnesota because I think Minnesota could actually be pretty underrated.
It's not ridiculous. Not ridiculous.
It's not ridiculous to say that, man. Iowa could sneak in somehow. Yeah, Illinois maybe. There's just so, dude. That's the thing with this conference. There's so many teams that I think could make splashes, could make ripples in this conference, like upsets.
Yeah.
That's why I just didn't have any team going over 10-2. Like I just think there's gonna be upsets. There's gonna be great games. There's gonna be teams that underperform, overperform. But it's just gonna be a fun season to watch the Big Ten because this is a great season for me getting into it for the first time. Like I never
for sure.
really have gotten into college football that much. I watch it on occasion, but this season I will be watching like as many games as possible because I'm just so invested in all the players now. So it's going to be really fun to watch the Big Ten because I truly think this is going to be like a very, very like up and down year for a lot of teams. A lot of upsets. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm excited, bro.
I agree. Yeah, good conference. Really talented players at the top, or teams at the top.
We just hit 3 hours on the video, so this is going to be a long one.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah, did you say offensive player, defensive player, by the way?
My offensive was Jeremiah Smith. My defensive was Brandon Finney.
That's what I thought. Okay, I just wanted to confirm. Well, and then your championship was just Ohio State and Oregon, yeah?
Yeah, and I think Ohio State wins. I think Ohio State's the best team in this conference. I
do too.
It's that hard for me to pick, honestly. Indiana, second and third.
Yep, makes sense to me. Well,
yeah,
it's getting late, and you're a first shifter, brother, so I'm going to let you off the hook.
Yes, sir. I'm so excited.
Yeah, but we'll be hitting you guys next with the SEC video.
Yep.
And do not know when that will be coming out, but that should be a really, really good video, too.
You guys, of course, don't know the days, but today's Thursday. I should have this video out tomorrow on Friday, so it'll be a week from our last one. Hopefully, we'll start getting them out at least weekly.
Yeah.
And yeah, this will be a nice long one, so hopefully listen to it like in the background of doing something because this would be a long watch. But yeah, this is the Neutral Zone, guys. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We appreciate you guys listening.
Yeah, for sure.
And we will catch you in the SEC video.
Yep. See you guys.